It was fine if the people in the other private rooms competed with him. After all, they were all people of equal status. However, a cultivator sitting in the hall dared to participate in this matter. This made him feel humiliated. "You're courting death." The young man's voice was cold. His eyes were like lightning, penetrating through layers of barriers and locking onto Lin Xian. Lin Xian felt the gazes from the second floor. He turned his head slightly and a trace of sword intent appeared in his eyes. He cut off the gazes that were looking at him. There was a small fluctuation in the air. Some people with high cultivation noticed that something was wrong. Quite a few people revealed looks of surprise. The young man was stunned and then his face became gloomy. He didn't expect that he would be at a disadvantage. Just now there was a trace of fierce intent in his eyes. He originally wanted to teach the black-robed man a lesson. However, he didn't expect that the other party's chi was even fiercer than his. He directly contained a trace of attack and counterattack. "Hey, I seem to feel a trace of sword intent." Lin Feng frowned and looked at the black-robed man below. At the same time, there was a soft sound of surprise in the third private room. Lin Xian felt that a soul power flowed out of the third private room and probed towards him. Lin Xian's eyes flashed. He also mobilized his soul power and covered his body to prevent anyone from probing. In the third private room, a handsome young man was half lying lazily. His whole body sank into a soft reclining chair. Suddenly, his face changed slightly, and there was a trace of surprise in his eyes. Just now, his soul perception had been blocked. Obviously, the other party was also a master of soul power. Outstanding soul power, and there seemed to be a trace of sword intent. Who is this person? The handsome young man rubbed his chin and was lost in thought. The black-robed man's performance was beyond everyone's expectations. For a moment, his identity became very mysterious. 350,000. The young man said coldly. 360,000. The handsome young man in the third private room said lazily. 380,000. Lin Xian said in a deep voice. The price rose rapidly and soon it reached 400,000. Lin Xian frowned. He had earned 260,000 spirit stones from auctioning off the long saber, and over 200,000 spirit stones from the spirit herbs he had on him. Adding the spirit stones he had obtained from the others, he had about 500,000 spirit stones. The current price made him feel a little depressed. However, fortunately, the owner of the third private room withdrew from the competition. Now only Lin Xian and the young man were left. 420,000, the young man said coldly. 450,000. Lin Xian's voice did not change at all. Umph. In the fifth private room, the young man snorted coldly. This price has exceeded the value of the long sword itself. Don't compete anymore. Lin Feng said indifferently. Don't worry, I won't bid anymore. But there are many ways to get that sword. The young man looked at Lin Xian with an extremely cold gaze. 450,000. Is there anyone else? On the auction stage, the old man in the white robe asked loudly, but he was overjoyed. No one answered. This price was already high enough. Even the people in the private rooms withdrew from the competition. In the end, the Autumn Scar sword was won by Lin Xian. The next item is very special. It is a piece of information about a spiritual weapon. The old man in the white robe said in a deep voice. Originally, Lin Xian wanted to leave and trade backstage. However, the information in front of him made him stop. Not only him but the whole hall was boiling. A spiritual weapon was a top weapon in the eyes of the world. Usually only the top sects and clans had one. But now, a new spiritual weapon had appeared. How could these people not be excited? However, how could a piece of information be auctioned? Chapter 159. It's here. Lin Feng narrowed his eyes in private room 5. Don't worry, young Master Feng. It's definitely ours. The young man clenched his fists and said. Outside, everyone was discussing animatedly. Their words were filled with excitement. On the auction stage, the old man in the white robe waved his hand to silence the whole place. Everyone, this information comes from a map. Whoever buys this map will be able to obtain this information. Another thing to tell everyone is that this map is incomplete. The old man in the white robe said in a deep voice. In fact, he is not very sure. After all, one incomplete map may not be able to infer anything. Sure enough, after hearing about the incomplete map, many people booed and half of the enthusiasm in their hearts was extinguished. The ordinary warriors in the hall were talking with each other, and it was noisy. An ancient map, the starting price is 300,000 spiritual stones. The auction starts now. These warriors booed. In their opinion, no one would buy such a thing. Lin Xian shook his head, stood up and prepared to leave. 350,000. A voice rang out like a clap of thunder in everyone's ears. What? Someone really bid. Those warriors were stunned. Could it be that the map really recorded it? Lin Xian suddenly turned around and looked at private room 5 on the second floor. He recognized that it was Lin Feng's voice. Did he come here specifically for this map? Lin Xian was puzzled. 360,000. The lazy voice sounded again. The crowd was excited. Although they could not afford it, they could watch the fun. Sure enough, after these two people bid, some more people bid. These people were all distinguished guests in private rooms on the second floor. For them, they would rather buy the wrong thing than let it go. Lin Xian shook his head and turned to leave. These prices were already beyond his ability. Even if he could get the treasure map, he might not be able to keep it. After all, the temptation of a spiritual treasure was too great. It was enough to make anyone go crazy. Lin Xian's departure attracted the attention of many people. A mid-grade profound rank treasure was enough to make one's heart palpitate with excitement. In the number 5 private room, the sword-marked youth stared at Lin Xian's figure with an evil smile on his face. You can't run away. No one can take away what I want. Lin Xian sensed all of those subtle gazes. He sneered in his heart and quickly walked backstage. With his current strength, he could fight against a warrior at the late stage of the 3rd level of the spiritual sea realm. If he had the Autumn Scar sword, then even against a warrior at the 4th level of the spiritual sea realm, he would have the power to battle. In addition, he also had the bronze gauntlet and the yellow talisman treasure. These 2 items were enough to kill a martial artist at the 5th layer of the spiritual ocean realm. However, he wouldn't use it unless he had no other choice. This kind of thing would be damaged every time it was used. Cracks had already appeared on the bronze gauntlet, which made his heart ache. After arriving at the backstage, Lin Xian handed over the soul stones and received the Autumn Scar sword. I get that black scabbard? Wine Lord transmitted his voice. Lin Xian glanced at the black scabbard on the jade plate. It looked very ordinary and there was nothing special about it. However, he would not let go of anything that could move Wine Lord's heart. Can you give this scabbard to me? Lin Xian asked casually. Sure. The martial artist in charge of the 1,000 Treasure Tower didn't care about a scabbard and gave it to Lin Xian on the spot. Putting away the scabbard, Lin Xian let out a sigh of relief. Nodding his head, Lin Xian prepared to leave. Little friend, please wait. An old voice sounded. It was abnormally strong. Lin Xian stopped in his tracks. There was a hint of caution in his eyes. He said in a low voice, What? The 1,000 Treasure Tower can't even bear to give out a scabbard? Little friend, don't misunderstand. I want to talk to you. The red-robed elder appeared with a smile. Don't worry, I'm not here for some scabbard. I just want to talk to you. All right, what do you want to talk about? Lin Xian's heart moved. He needed a powerful force to intimidate the mysterious green-haired man. If he could get closer to the 1,000 Treasure Tower, then it would be the best. Little friend, this way please, the red-robed elder said with a smile. Lin Xian followed behind him and walked into an antique room. I wonder if little friend can take off the black robe? The red-robed elder said. I represent the 1,000 Treasure Tower to discuss something with little friend. I absolutely have no malice. Okay. Lin Xian said solemnly. He waved his hand and put the black robe into his storage ring. The red-robed elder looked at Lin Xian, a hint of shock appearing in his eyes. He knew that Lin Xian was young, but he didn't expect that he would be so young. This was clearly a youth. I wonder what senior is looking for this brat for? Lin Xian asked politely. Ooh, heroes come from the youth. The red-robed elder said while stroking his beard, I want to ask if little friend is an inscription master? Done talking, he looked at Lin Xian with a look of anticipation. Lin Xian nodded. The old man's gaze made him feel somewhat nervous. Then do you know about the inscription tower? Lin Xian shook his head. I've been cultivating with my master in the mountains. I've only recently come out to explore the world. For his own safety, he once again brought up his incorporeal master. I wonder who your master is? The red-robed elder asked subconsciously. My master is very low-key, Lin Xian lied. I wonder why senior is looking for me? He quickly changed the topic. The red-robed elder didn't think much about it. After all, many experts like to live in seclusion. At that moment, he said slowly, if possible, I would like to invite you to participate in a competition in the name of the 1,000 Treasure Tower. It is said that the inscription tower was left behind by an inscription master. It is located at the border between the Xia country and the Shadow country. There are some unique inscriptions and inscriptions in it. It is a sacred place for inscriptionists. However, due to its geographical location, it is determined that it can't be occupied by any country alone. So every 3 years, the Xia country and the Shadow country will decide which side will enter by means of a martial arts competition. The Xia country has lost twice in a row. This time we can't lose again. There was a trace of anger and helplessness on the red-robed elder's face. If it is a competition, you shouldn't be looking for me, right? Lin Xian was puzzled. Isn't it better to be an expert on the hidden dragon role? Little friend, although it is a competition, the participants must be inscriptionists. Although there are many geniuses on the hidden dragon role, there are not many inscriptionists. Little friend, your soul power is the strongest I have ever seen. It is far beyond your peers. Lin Xian understood. Indeed, his soul force was much stronger than that of an ordinary first-grade inscription master, let alone people of the same age. Don't worry. As long as you participate, you will be rewarded. The red-robed elder said hurriedly when he saw that Lin Xian was silent. In his body, the wine lord said, Little Xian, if that inscription tower is real, you can go in and take a look. Lin Xian's heart skipped a beat. He pondered for a moment and said slowly, I wonder when this competition will start? I don't want to miss the snow-seeking sect's grand event. Little friend, don't worry. This competition will be after the snow-seeking sect's grand event. If I win the competition, will I be able to get a spot to enter the inscription tower? Lin Xian asked in a deep voice. The red-robed elder was stunned. His face suddenly sank. A strong aura slowly overflowed, and the entire room became very oppressive. Lin Xian's spiritual sea shook and made a roaring sound. At the same time he spread out his soul power to resist the pressure. His expression didn't change. He slowly stretched out his hand and drew in the air. An ancient inscription appeared in the air, emitting a strange light. Chapter 160. The inscriptions in the air completely stunned the red-robed elder. What an exquisite inscription! The old man exclaimed after a while. I need to discuss your request with others. The old man said, No matter what, I'll give you an answer in 3 days. Thank you very much. Lin Xian bowed and walked out of the room. Looking at Lin Xian's back, the old man took a deep breath. This young man's attainment in inscription was far beyond his expectations. He looked at the inscription that was gradually disappearing in the air and fell into deep thought. Lin Xian walked out of the room and went straight outside. The inscription just now was drawn under the guidance of Wine Lord. He didn't expect it to really shock the old man. It seems that Wine Lord's inscription is far beyond these people. Lin Xian was delighted. When he walked out of the Thousand Treasures building, the auction had just ended and the crowd was rushing out. Through the conversation of others, he learned that the last piece of the map was bought by Lin Feng at the price of 600,000 low-grade spiritual stones. What a spendthrift! Lin Xian curled his lips and walked towards the inn. Behind him, a few obscure eyes fell on him. One of them was the sword-marked young man beside Lin Feng. Seeing Lin Xian check into the Four Seas Inn, the sword-marked young man sneered and then left. Lin Xian naturally knew that these people were following him. But he didn't care. If these people didn't open their eyes, he didn't mind sending them on their way. Back in the room, Lin Xian used the red flame sword to set up a defensive formation and then breathed a sigh of relief. After calming down, he flicked the storage ring with his finger and a long sword appeared in his hand. Gently shaking, a sword shadow appeared in the air. It was like a rainbow in autumn, cold to the heart. Lin Xian urged the thunder in his body. In a flash, golden arcs climbed up the sword. Circulating his spiritual energy once more, the golden arcs of lightning disappeared. Instead, a green gust of wind wrapped around the sword, adding a bit of spirituality to it. Lin Xian was very satisfied with this. He felt that the 450,000 low-grade spirit stones were not wasted. You don't know what's important. In my opinion, the black scabbard is the real deal. Wine Lord snorted. Lin Xian's heart skipped a beat when he heard this. With a flip of his hand, he took out the black scabbard and looked at it curiously. Nothing special. Lin Xian muttered. Then he activated his purple spirit eyes and carefully observed the surroundings. Finally, he even used his soul force to check inside and out. If it was that easy to see through, you wouldn't have been able to get the item. Wine Lord said. Wine Lord, what's the use of this? Lin Xian asked. Put the sword back into the scabbard, Wine Lord said. Lin Xian did as he was told and sheathed the autumn scar sword. Use the power of wind and thunder at the same time. Control your power and don't destroy the house. Lin Xian's eyebrows twitched. Could it be? He used the power of wind and thunder at the same time. Then he controlled his power and suddenly pulled out the sword. Under his control, the sword chi was attached to the sword and did not leak out. However, he could clearly see that the power of wind and thunder had perfectly merged together. The air within 3 feet of him had been sliced apart. This is the power of wind and thunder, Lin Xian exclaimed. He had wanted to merge these two powers for a long time. However, without the corresponding martial arts, it was very difficult for him to succeed. But now, a black scabbard had solved this problem. It is indeed a good item. He touched the black scabbard and his face was full of joy. Now you know how to be happy. Wine Lord snorted. Lin Xian hugged the scabbard and laughed. In the next 2 hours, Lin Xian studied the black scabbard. He realized that the more power of wind and thunder he poured in, the longer it could last. However, it could only last for 10 breaths of time. In other words, after 10 breaths of time, the power of wind and thunder on the long sword would be separated again. However, for Lin Xian this was already enough. In the evening, Lin Xian went out for a meal before returning to his room. He lived in a small independent courtyard which was very quiet. In the following time, he put away the autumn scar sword and the black scabbard and started to practice his inscriptions. These days he had not slacked off on his practice, including his martial arts. Inscriptions were the same as martial arts. It was like sailing against the current. If you did not advance, you would fall behind. Lin Xian did not slack off for even a second. His inscriptions were also improving rapidly. In the middle of the night, Lin Xian stopped his training and took out some spirit wine to recover quickly. He had a feeling that someone would make a move for the autumn scar sword. Raising his body's condition to the extreme, Lin Xian closed his eyes and started to recover. Indeed, in the latter half of the night, he sensed the presence of warriors. Spreading out his soul power, Lin Xian grasped the situation within a dozen meters radius. On the roof, 3 human figures were approaching quietly. The corner of Lin Xian's mouth lifted slightly as his body flashed and disappeared. The 3 men in black had their faces covered, and the presence on their bodies was hidden. "You 3, what are you doing on my roof in the middle of the night?" A mocking voice was heard from behind, and the 3 men in black were shocked. "Let's go," the middle man in black roared. The 3 moved quickly and the presence on their bodies exploded like a flood. Their spirit power surged, shaking the air. These 3 were all warriors at the 3rd sky of the spiritual sea realm. The 3 of them worked together, forming a triangle. "Hand over the autumn scar sword and we will spare your life," the middle man in black roared. "Are you talking about this?" Lin Xian took out the autumn scar sword and waved it in front of the 3. The 3's eyes were attracted by the long sword, and their breathing became hurried. "Hand it over to us," the man in black roared. "You guys are not worthy of this sword." Lin Xian hung the long sword on his waist. "Kid, you are looking for death." The 3 men in black were furious and attacked together. "Fuck off." Lin Xian took a step forward and roared out a sound wave. Oh. The translucent sound wave vibrated, and together with the soul power attack, it pierced through the defensive armor of the 3. Oh. 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 The 3 were covered by the sound wave and their bodies were severely wounded. Horrifying cracks appeared on their bodies one after another. All of a sudden the 3 were covered in blood. "Back off." The 3 men in black robes had fear in their eyes. Is he still human? Just a shout was enough to injure them severely. "You want to leave?" Lin Xian's body flashed and he blocked the way of the 3. Don't do anything stupid." The 3 were bleeding all over and their voices were shaking. "Leave your storage rings and don't appear in front of me again." Yes. The 3 took off the storage rings on their fingers and threw them to Lin Xian, then ran away quickly. Putting away the 3 storage rings, Lin Xian's expression did not relax. Instead, it became extremely serious. He felt a powerful aura appear nearby. Most of the warriors nearby had seen Lin Xian's attack. And the ones who still dared to make a move now were undoubtedly powerful warriors. Pow, pow, pow. A clear clapping sound was heard, and a teenager with a sword mark in between his eyebrows appeared. With the cultivation of the 2nd sky of the spiritual sea realm, he was able to beat back 3 warriors at the 3rd level of the spiritual sea realm with one attack. He is indeed not simple. However, if he wants to get the autumn scar sword with just this, I am afraid that it is not enough. Chapter 161. Sword chi hummed and buzzed. The young man took a step forward and his aura increased again, like a mountain pressing down. Nearby, some warriors poked their heads out and watched the battle in the distance nervously. Who is that? What a horrifying aura. There are no weaklings around Lin Feng. It seems like that young man is going to be in trouble. The young man stared at Lin Xian and slowly pulled out his long sword. It was a golden long sword with a curved body, like a crawling poisonous snake. The long sword left its scabbard and turned into a curved beam of light in the air. Golden Snake Sword. He is Golden Snake Sword Yan Hui. The warriors nearby exclaimed. Golden Snake Sword Yan Hui, ranked 32nd on the Hidden Dragon rank. No one had expected him to appear here. With the long sword in his hand, the young man's body also twisted strangely like a snake. Behind him, a sword-shaped snake shadow gradually appeared. It was extremely horrifying. Lin Xian held the Autumn Scar sword and condensed all his qi into one point. He knew very well that he had no advantage in a battle of spiritual power. However, his attacks were extremely powerful, especially after the fusion of wind and thunder. His battle power had increased again. Golden Snake Strike. The young man swung out his sword and sword qi flashed, covering the sky. Wind and thunder explosion. Lin Xian stomped his feet and qi waves spread out like water splashes. His entire body shot out like an arrow. Boom. Approaching the Golden Snake Sword qi, Lin Xian suddenly pulled out his sword. Boom. The air seemed to explode as a 10-meter-long sword light flew out like lightning. With one sword, the wind and thunder moved. Boom. 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 The Autumn Scar sword slashed diagonally and hit the weak point of the Golden Snake Sword qi. All of a sudden, the Golden Snake Sword qi weakened rapidly and disappeared completely. Yan Hui's face looked gloomy. His body flashed and he quickly came to Lin Xian's side. His Golden Snake Sword stabbed out like lightning. Ding, 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 ding. A series of metal clashing sounds rang out in the air. Balls of bright sparks burst out like shooting stars. Every attack of the two was the tip of the sword against the tip of the sword. It was extremely accurate. The difference was that the sword mark youth was advancing while Lin Xian was retreating. There was nothing he could do about it. His opponent's spiritual energy was too strong. Every time they collided, his arm would go numb. Bang. The two swords clashed again, and Lin Xian retreated a few steps with a gloomy face. If that's all you've got, then go to hell. The young man waved his sword, and the sword light split into 2, then 4 and finally 8 golden pythons which pounced on Lin Xian. Lin Xian's gaze flickered. His opponent's cultivation at the 5th layer of the spiritual ocean tier was too much of a suppression on him. It seemed that he could only use sword intent. Lin Xian sheathed his sword back into its black scabbard and his eyes gradually turned cold. Are you giving up? In the distance, someone sighed. Using the cultivation of the 2nd layer of the spiritual ocean tier to resist the 5th layer of the spiritual ocean tier, this is already a miracle. In the darkness behind these martial practitioners, there were 2 old figures standing far away. One of them was wearing a red robe and the other was wearing a white robe. They were the 2 elders of the 1,000 Treasure Tower. Should we save him? The white-robed elder asked. No, his strength should be more than this. The red-robed elder said in a low voice. Look again. Just as the 2 were talking, a martial practitioner in front exclaimed. He fought back. Indeed, Lin Xian fought back. The sword intent in his body surged, and the sharp sword intent burst out in an instant. Hurricane style. The sword shadow swept out, and 4 green hurricanes dozens of meters high flew out, sweeping the sky and the earth, crashing into the golden pythons in all directions. With a swing of his sword, Lin Xian attacked continuously. He stepped on the phantom thunder step, and his body kept flashing as he quickly approached the young man. Wind thunder pierce. The green sword qi surged as if it had turned into a green dragon. Outside it, golden electric arcs surrounded it, crackling. The great dragon sword mark in Lin Xian's mind trembled, and the sword qi outside his body let out a dragon roar. The golden electric arcs merged into the sword qi and turned into golden dragon scales, which were extremely dazzling. Oh my god, what kind of qi is this? Someone exclaimed in the distance. Sword intent. The young man was moved for the first time, and there was deep jealousy in his eyes. This was the realm that all swordsmen dreamed of, but only a few people could comprehend it. Among the people he knew, only Lin Feng had comprehended sword intent. That abnormal combat strength made him tremble. This person can't be left alive. In an instant, the young man made up his mind. Whether it was him or Lin Feng, they didn't want anyone who had comprehended sword intent to exist. Bang! The wind thunder sword qi was extremely fast, and in the blink of an eye, it attacked the young man. Thunder and lightning flashed and the strong wind danced. The violent power destroyed the young man's body protection. When everything calmed down, Lin Xian frowned. On the opposite side, the young man slid back dozens of meters on the ground, and there was a deep dent in the ground. Most of his body protection armor was broken, but it still didn't hurt his body. Is this the strength of the fifth sky of the spiritual sea realm? It's really abnormal. Lin Xian sighed. The gap between their cultivation was too big, and he couldn't break the young man's defense. How dare you hurt me? You can go to hell. The young man's face was ferocious. No matter what, he had to kill Lin Xian. In the distance, a group of warriors was shocked. This combat strength was too horrible. In the darkness, the two elders were even more surprised. I didn't expect this boy to comprehend sword intent. It seems that there is hope for the battle of the inscription tower. The old man in the red robe's eyes were shining. We can't let anything happen to him. The old man in the white robe was ready to attack. Let's see what else this boy can do. The old man in the red robe was not in a hurry. Since he saw the strange rune drawn by Lin Xian, he felt that Lin Xian was not simple. Now it seemed that it was true. Boy, let me see where your limit is. On the battlefield, Lin Xian suddenly attacked. The fusion wind movement was silent. Behind the young man, the air cracked, and a sharp sword chi slashed at his body. A horrifying crack appeared on his armor. It was a shocking sight. However, the young man's defense was too thick. Lin Xian's sword chi could only cut through half of it. Fusion wind movement. Lin Xian threw out sword chi one after another, and all of them flew towards the same spot. The young man was furious. At the same time, he was shocked. If he was hit by 3 sword chi at the same spot, he would definitely be injured. Fortunately, he was not someone with an undeserved reputation. He jumped and dodged 2 sword chi. The young man's body glided in the air, and the shadow of the golden snake appeared behind him. It combined with the golden snake sword in his hand and slashed down. It did not seem to be sword chi but a real python descending from the sky. Violent and unrestrained spiritual energy came crashing down like a mountain, turning everything below into dust. At this moment, the martial artists in the vicinity all fled for their lives, running far away. Lin Xian retreated quickly and dodged the attack. At the same time, he waved the autumn scar sword in his hand and used the splitting wind movement. The air seemed to have been cut open and there was a strange shift. The golden python in the air was pulled by an invisible force, as if it was about to be torn apart. Horrifying cracks appeared on some of the weaker parts. Whoosh! The young man ignored Lin Xian's attack and quickly came to his side. Chapter 162. The angle of this attack was extremely tricky, specifically aimed at Lin Xian's vital points. If it hit, even if he survived, he would be half dead. Fortunately, Lin Xian's soul power was strong and he sensed the danger immediately. Lin Xian moved almost at the same time as the young man made his move. He dodged quickly and left an afterimage on the spot. The golden snake sword pierced the afterimage and pierced through the air. Swoosh, swoosh. Lin Xian kept moving around the young man, leaving behind a golden shadow every time. You can't trap me. The young man was as steady as a rock. He pierced through the shadows like a viper. However, Lin Xian's goal was not to trap him. Even if the young man pierced through all the shadows, it was useless. Explode! Lin Xian shouted from afar. Rumble. The golden shadows were all condensed by golden thunderbolts and they carried terrifying power. Now, with this explosion, everything within a radius of 100 feet was enveloped, forming a sea of lightning. Dozens of figures were blasted apart. Golden waves rolled and swept in all directions. The young man was blown away and his body was charred. Bang! He knelt on the ground in a sorry state. His hair was disheveled and his face and body were charred. Brat, you've completely infuriated me. The young man looked cold and his eyes seemed to be spitting fire. The sword mark on his forehead was about to be undone and a terrifying aura was emitted from his body. Lin Xian's pupils shrank as he sensed a fatal danger. His soul power had touched the bronze gauntlet. If something went wrong, he would take action immediately. At this moment, a voice came from afar and a figure rushed over. Stop. No fighting in the ancient city. This voice was like rolling thunder, shaking the void. When the nearby martial artists heard it, their faces turned pale, and they couldn't even stand steadily. Lin Xian operated his soul power and sword essence to clear the voice. At the same time, he was secretly on guard. The young man did not seem to have heard the warning and continued to attack. The golden sword light converged into a thumb-thick golden line, which quickly pierced towards Lin Xian's heart. Lin Xian activated the ancient armor on his body with all his might. At the same time, he quickly put on the bronze gauntlet on his left hand. However, before he could make a move, the situation changed drastically. The terrifying golden thread shattered into several pieces in the air. The young man's face was pale as he kept retreating. Lin Xian was astonished. Suddenly, he frowned as he felt an immense pressure. Whoosh! At some point in time, a figure had appeared between the two of them. Purple qi covered his entire body. It was as mysterious as the 9 heavens' purple qi. "How dare you ignore my warning?" The figure only said one sentence, and the sword-marked youth opposite him began to vomit blood. Harmonious spirit realm. Lin Xian gasped. To have such power, it was most likely only a person in the 3 spirit realms. He put away the bronze gauntlets and stood there cautiously. The next moment, the purple figure looked at him. In an instant, his entire body trembled as if his soul had been struck. In his mind, the great dragon sword seal vibrated and turned into a roaring dragon. A warm current instantly flowed through his entire body, allowing him to recover from that uncomfortable state. The purple figure was surprised. He did not expect Lin Xian to be able to resist. Just as he was about to make a move, 2 light figures rushed out from afar. "Master, please calm down." 2 light figures, one red and one white, rushed forward and bowed to the purple figure. The 2 old men went forward and whispered to the purple figure. In the end, the purple figure snorted. "Since it was your first offense, I'll let you go this time. If there's a next time, you'll be killed without mercy." "Yes," Lin Xian said respectfully. On the other side, the sword-marked youth nodded unwillingly. "Both of you have to compensate for the loss this time. In the cities of the Xia, no fighting is allowed except for specific battle stages." In the end, Lin Xian and the sword-marked youth each paid a sum of spiritual stones and watched the master leave. The sword-marked youth glared at Lin Xian with a gloomy expression. "Kid, consider yourself lucky. But you won't be so lucky next time. Next time I'll kill you with my sword." Lin Xian's voice was as cold as the autumn scar sword. He didn't pay any more attention to the young man. Instead, he thanked the 2 elders. "Young friend Lin, we agree to your conditions. Why don't you take us back to the 1,000 Treasure Tower to rest?" "Thank you, seniors." Lin Xian did not refuse and left with the 2 old men. The sword-marked youth also left with a gloomy face. The rest of the warriors also left one after another. However, they kept talking about the battle just now. The battle was too exciting. A warrior in the 2nd tier of the spiritual sea realm fought against a warrior in the 5th tier. Treasured weapons, sword intent, and all kinds of attacking methods were endless. It was an eye-opener for them. After these people left, a green-haired man walked over slowly. He felt the aura around him and laughed sinisterly. Then he blended into the darkness again. Lin Xian followed the 2 old men back to the 1,000 Treasure Tower and thanked them again. "Seniors, I have a request," Lin Xian said. "Oh, let's hear it." "I wonder if the 1,000 Treasure Tower is heading to the snow-seeking sect. I want to go with you." "That's easy. We'll leave in a few days." "You can come with us," the red-robed old man said. Lin Xian was overjoyed. After bidding farewell to the 2 old men, he returned to his room. After closing the door, Lin Xian let out a heavy sigh. Today's battle gave him a sense of crisis. Recently, he had been living more comfortably. After calming down, Lin Xian started to comprehend the Wind Emperor's sword and the Great Dragon Sword print. For the next few days, Lin Xian spent his time cultivating. During the day, he practiced and tried various sword skills. He learned many moves from the 2 inheritances and perfected them under the guidance of Wine Lord. When he was tired, he drank spirit wine and cultivated the art of longevity. At night, he followed Wine Lord to learn inscriptions. His days were spent very fully. This day was the 5th day since he came to the 1,000 Treasure Tower. Today was the day the 1,000 Treasure Tower set off. Lin Xian went out early to wait. He exchanged insights on comprehending the inheritances with Wine Lord while waiting. These days, he comprehended the Wind Emperor's sword and the Great Dragon Sword print virtually whenever he had time and finally evolved several swift and fierce sword techniques. Among them, the most powerful was the Wind Thunder Dragon Stab. This move, he fused the Wind Emperor's sword, the Great Dragon Sword print, and flying stars from outer heaven. Although it consumed a lot of spirit energy compared to flying stars from outer heaven, it saved a lot. Furthermore, according to his calculations, this move could break through the defense of a 5th-level Spirit Sea Realm martial artist. One had to know that just a few days ago, he was still unable to break through the sword-marked youth's defense. And now he had absolute confidence. Just as he was thinking, a group of people walked over from the opposite side. Among them were 2 old men in red and white, a middle-aged man and 2 young men and women. Among them, that girl was someone Lin Xian had seen before. She was that beauty called Wei Wei. And that young man stared at Lin Xian with a flickering expression, a trace of disdain in his eyes. Chapter 163. You're the inscription master that old Qiu and old Bai found? The young man stared at Lin Xian. You don't seem to be much? Lin Xian sighed and ignored him. Instead, he greeted the 2 elders behind the young man. Greetings, seniors, Lin Xian said with a smile. Little friend Lin, you're here so early, the white-robed elder said with a smile. Kid you. The young man beside him was livid. He originally wanted to intimidate Lin Xian, but he didn't expect Lin Xian to ignore him. I'll let you know that not everyone can enter the 1,000 Treasure Tower. The young man roared in his heart. Lin Xian sneered in his heart. He didn't want to fight with these people. What he wanted most now was to reach the snow-seeking sect. There's no time to lose. Let's go, the red-robed elder said. The few of them walked out of the 1,000 Treasure Tower. Lin Xian looked at the 2 chariots in front and was a little surprised. The simple patterns were made of black gold and were the size of a house. The demonic beast pulling the chariot was even more extraordinary. It was actually a 4-headed blood dragon horse. This was a powerful 4th-tier demonic beast with the body of a horse and the tail of a dragon. Its entire body was blood red as if it could drip blood. Its blood was vigorous and comparable to a martial artist in the 4th layer of the spiritual ocean tier. This 1,000 Treasure Tower is really generous, Lin Xian praised in his heart. This kind of thing wasn't something that an ordinary force could take out. And this was just the 1,000 Treasure Tower in the ancient city. Lin Xian didn't dare to imagine how powerful the headquarters of the 1,000 Treasure Tower was. 6 people, 2 chariots. The 2 elders and the middle-aged man sat in the front chariot, while Lin Xian and the 2 disciples of the 1,000 Treasure Tower entered the other chariot. After a moment there was a sound. The bloody horned dragon horse let out a long neigh and dashed out. Its speed was frightening. Lin Xian estimated that at this speed, they could arrive in about 10 days. It was more than twice as fast as him traveling alone. I'm Wei Wei. This is senior brother Lu Yang. The beautiful woman in the chariot said. There was a lot of space inside. Lin Xian and the other 2 each took a side. Seeing the beauty take the initiative to speak, Lin Xian also cupped his fists and smiled. I am Lin Xian. It is my honor to meet the 2 of you. The young man snorted. Lin Xian's face darkened slightly. He had never met this Lu Yang fellow, but the latter had always wanted to make things difficult for him. Lin Xian ignored him. Instead, he closed his eyes and began to practice the Great Dragon Sword Seal. These days, as Lin Xian continued to comprehend, he finally understood why the Great Dragon Sword was called an offensive saint art. Fusing everything, evolving everything. With a sword in hand, all techniques could be broken. Lin Xian could now use the mountain-suppressing hand and lion's roar with his long sword, and its power was even stronger than the original version. Coupled with the effect of sword intent, his attack power had increased by leaps and bounds. Seeing Lin Xian closing his eyes, Lu Yang glared at him. He was a disciple of the Myriad Treasure Tower and a first-grade inscription master. He was a strong candidate to participate in the inscription tower. Just a few days ago, he heard that a kid suddenly joined the Myriad Treasure Tower and wanted to participate in the inscription tower competition. This was a threat to his position. The number of people participating in the inscription tower was limited. There would be a preliminary selection at the end, and only the winner could enter. But this kid in front of him could participate directly. How could he not be angry? I want to see what ability you have. Lu Yang clenched his fists. However, Lin Xian never gave him a chance. After getting on the carriage, Lin Xian began to meditate with his eyes closed, comprehending the cultivation method. He did not have the intention to pay attention to the 2 at all. Lu Yang gnashed his teeth in hatred, but there was nothing he could do. He could not directly interrupt Lin Xian. If he did, the elders would not forgive him. The carriage moved forward quickly as if it was flying. The next day Lin Xian opened his eyes. He had encountered a bottleneck and it could not be solved by comprehending. Putting down the comprehension of the Great Dragon Sword Seal, he took out a cup of spirit wine and drank it, then began to cultivate the art of longevity. A wisp of wine fragrance spread out and floated in the carriage. Vivian and Lu Yang were both inscription masters. After feeling this wine fragrance, their faces changed in shock. Such rich spirit qi. This spirit wine must be of high grade. Vivian blinked her big eyes and looked at Lin Shen curiously. At the side, Lu Yang's eyes became even more gloomy. How could this kid have such spirit wine? He could not figure it out and was a little mad. After 2 hours, Lin Shen opened his eyes. The spirit qi in his body was abundant, and he would soon break through to the 3rd level of the spiritual sea realm. At that time, even if he met the Swordmark youth, he had absolute confidence to defeat him. Junior brother Lin, your spirit wine must be of high grade. You didn't refine it yourself, right? Vivian asked with a smile. How could it be? This was refined by my master. Lin Shen shook his head. Since everyone is free, why don't we test what we have learned together? Lu Yang saw the opportunity and said hurriedly. Sure, I happen to have some doubts recently, Vivian said seriously. Junior brother Lin, what about you? Lu Yang asked. Because Lin Shen was the youngest, both of them called him junior brother. Lin Shen smiled lightly. Sure. Lu Yang was overjoyed. As long as Lin Shen dared to agree, he was confident that he could humiliate Lin Shen. In his opinion, Lin Shen was just a kid, what could he know? Lin Shen sneered in his heart. He naturally knew Lu Yang's intention, but he was fearless. After practicing for so long, he could take this opportunity to test it out. Then the 3 of them began to discuss, from the beginning of the herb's pharmacology, to the effects and methods. Lin Shen learned inscription knowledge from Wine Lord, so this content was not difficult for him. On the contrary, he could often come up with some unique ideas, which broadened the horizons of the other 2. Vivian's face was flushed red with excitement. She had solved all the problems that had plagued her for days. Lu Yang's face was gloomy. Not only did he not make things difficult for Lin Shen, but he also could not answer some of the questions. The corner of his mouth twitched slightly. Lu Yang's heart went crazy. Humph! You talk so nicely, who doesn't know these theories? The key to becoming an inscription master is refining. Do you dare to compete? Lu Yang was furious. He swore that he would humiliate Lin Shen. He guessed that Lin Shen must have a good master to be able to learn such knowledge. However, Lu Yang was not willing to admit defeat. He had the advantage of age. In terms of refining techniques and proficiency, Lin Shen was definitely inferior to him. Sure. Lin Shen's expression was still indifferent, not anxious or impatient. Keep pretending, keep pretending. I'll make you cry in a moment. Lu Yang sneered in his heart. His finger swayed and drew an arc in the air. A shining inscription appeared in the air. The whole process was smooth and there was not a single pause. Good technique. Lin Shen smiled. It seemed that Lu Yang had some skills. He was not a talkative person. Lin Shen immediately made his move. His finger danced in the air. 3 vortex runes appeared in the air, forming the shape of a triangle. It was like 3 blooming lotus flowers. 3 flowers gathering spirit. Lu Yang exclaimed. Lu Yang's eyes were filled with shock. His lips trembled and he could not speak. The 3 lotus-shaped inscriptions rotated in the air, forming a spiritual vortex. Chapter 164. The old man in the red robe opened his eyes in shock. He slowly spread out his soul power to check the situation behind him. When he saw the 3 flowers gathering spirit drawn by Lin Shen, his eyelids twitched fiercely. This kid is really surprising. The old man in the red robe was full of expectations for the upcoming battle of the inscription tower. In the carriage, Lu Yang kept pinching his thigh to wake himself up from his dream. This can't be real. This can't be real. However, reality was like a basin of cold water that woke him up. Finally, Lu Yang let out a heavy sigh. You win. He finally knew why Lin Shen could directly participate in the inscription tower competition. His method was way beyond theirs. Junior brother Lin, can I ask you a question? Vivian blinked her big eyes and asked. Of course, senior brother Lu Yang can also participate, Lin Shen said lightly. He was not a narrow-minded person. Lu Yang was taken aback. He gave Lin Shen a deep look. Then the 2 began to ask all their questions. Lin Shen answered them one by one in great detail. Lu Yang was shocked. He thought that Lin Shen was just joking. He did not expect that Lin Shen would help them so wholeheartedly. This made him feel a little embarrassed. At this time the carriage slowed down. Lin Shen opened the window and looked out. Outside, the wind and snow were drifting. The snow was wrapped in silver and the goose feather-like snow fell from the sky. As far as the eye could see, the whole world seemed to have turned into a monotonous white. We have entered the snow province. Lu Yang looked out of the window and said. On the snowy ground, the carriage might be slower. This was relative. Lin Xian estimated that even this speed was faster than him traveling alone. Putting down the curtain, Lin Xian entered the state of cultivation again. Half a day later, the carriage stopped completely. We will rest for the night and continue tomorrow. The old man in the red robe and the other two got off the carriage and looked forward. Lin Xian and the other two got off the carriage and suddenly felt a cold wind blowing in their faces. It was as if they were going to be frozen into ice. Fortunately, I'm wearing a bearskin coat. Otherwise, I would have to use my spiritual energy to protect my body. Lin Xian exclaimed in his heart as he felt the cold air between heaven and earth. Everyone found a place to shelter from the wind and snow, and then pulled the carriage over. The red-robed old man's large hand trembled, forming a formation that enveloped everyone. Suddenly the cold wind and snow were all blocked outside. The formation was not supported by manpower. The red-robed old man only needed to place some mid-grade spirit stones, and the formation would automatically defend itself. Everyone tidied up the food and prepared to eat. Most of these people were inscriptionists, so they naturally would not mistreat themselves. The middle-aged man flicked his finger and a furnace appeared. 2 fire birds were engraved on the furnace, and they were surrounded by raging flames as if they were alive. Bang! The half-meter-tall furnace fell to the ground, causing the earth to tremble. A wave of heat spread out and everyone felt much warmer. Lu Yang and Vivian began to take out the cut demon beast meat and roast it on the stove. The sky gradually darkened, and the snowstorm outside grew heavier. Moreover, the snow at night was not white but blue like crystals. Lin Xian and the others began to rest and busy themselves with their own things. Suddenly, everyone opened their eyes. Among them, the white-robed old man and the middle-aged man were not inscriptionists, but their cultivation was the highest, reaching the 7th sky of the spiritual sea realm. The rest of the people were all spiritual tattooists with powerful soul power. At this moment, all of them frowned. This was because they could sense a powerful force approaching them at a rapid speed. Could it be him? Lin Xian frowned, and the figure of the green-haired man appeared in his mind. No, there is no evil aura. He quickly denied it. Circulating his soul power, Lin Xian used purple spiritual eyes and looked into the distance. Soon, his pupils shrank and he stood up. Wolf pack. Lin Xian took a deep breath. The others also sensed it and they were all shocked. Among them, the white-robed old man said in a deep voice, "This is the Ice Wolves bandits from the Snow Province. They are extremely cruel. You must be careful." "Can't we escape with the Blood Dragon carriage?" Lu Yang's voice was trembling. "On the snow, nothing can outrun the snow wolves." The white-robed old man shook his head. Figures appeared beside them. It was a pack of snow wolves. Each of them was more than 2 meters long, and their green eyes were like 2 ghost fires that kept jumping. Behind them, there were more snow wolves approaching, but there were people sitting on those wolves. One by one, huge burly men in beast-skin coats stared coldly at Lin Xian and the others with ferocious expressions. "We are from the 1,000 Treasure Tower. May I know why you are here?" The middle-aged man stood out and said in a deep voice. "Haha, so it's a friend from the 1,000 Treasure Tower? You must know the rules of the Ice Wolves bandits. Leave the horses, money, treasures, and women. The rest can get lost." This group of burly men was very arrogant and did not give face to the 1,000 Treasure Tower. This was a group of lunatics who did not give face to anyone. Even the disciples of the snow-seeking sect would still rob them. So there is no room for discussion? The middle-aged man's voice gradually turned cold. They were from the 1,000 Treasure Tower. No one dared to provoke them outside, so how could they endure this kind of humiliation? There is nothing to discuss. Brothers, charge. With a command, countless snow wolves pounced. The defensive array buzzed and trembled non-stop. Ripples appeared in the surroundings, and it looked like it was about to shatter. Gather together, don't scatter. Everyone break through together. The white-robed old man said in a deep voice. Rumble, the defensive array shattered and the wolf bandits rushed in. Umph. The middle-aged man attacked mercilessly. An earthy yellow palm that was dozens of meters tall pushed out horizontally. Everywhere it passed, countless blood wolves and bandits turned into a bloody mist. The power of a martial artist at the 7th layer of the spiritual sea realm was extremely terrifying. "Let me fight you." An angry voice sounded from behind the wolf bandits. A huge burly man suddenly jumped up, and his long saber slashed down like a rainbow. The saber light that was dozens of meters long cut through the sky and slashed down at the crowd. Air waves rolled on both sides and the cold wind blew in reverse, whistling non-stop. The middle-aged man threw out a punch to welcome the resplendent saber light and engaged in a fierce battle with the wolf bandit leader. Hee, who wants to play with me? A sinister voice sounded, and another wolf bandit at the 7th layer of the spiritual sea realm walked out, holding a blue long whip in his hand and laughing cruelly. The white-robed old man gave some instructions to the crowd, and then went forward. The battle between 4 martial artists at the 7th layer of the spiritual sea realm was shocking. Just the aftermath of the battle made everyone's heart tremble. Lin Xian and the rest kept retreating. They were already surrounded. Go! With the wolf bandits' command, countless snow wolves pounced forward. Break through them. The crowd didn't want to be separated, but there were too many snow wolves, and they were pushed apart in an instant. Lin Xian pulled out the Autumn Scar sword and attacked first. He used the Phantom Thunder Steps and shuttled through the wolf pack, thrusting out his long sword continuously. Every sword took the life of a snow wolf. Every sword was fatal and accurate. Soon, dozens of snow wolves fell beside him and blood dyed the ground red. Kid, you're looking for death. Chapter 165. The newcomer was very ferocious. His body was covered in flames, and his spirit energy condensed into a dragon, charging towards Lin Xian. The wild blade slashed down, and the blade light was like starlight shining in the air. A martial artist in the 4th sky of the spiritual ocean realm. Little friend Lin, be careful. In the distance, the red-robed elder saw this scene and wanted to rush over to help. However, his opponent was very strong, holding the red-robed elder back. Vivian and Lu Yang were also very anxious, but they were also surrounded by the wolf bandits and couldn't get away for a while. Lin Xian's body was unpredictable, and he quickly dodged the star-like blade light. Don't worry, I can handle it. He transmitted his voice to everyone. Hee, kid, you seem to be very important. The bald man sneered, if I kill you, I wonder how sad they will be. This group of wolf bandits was very cruel and they took pleasure in killing people. Lin Xian had no sympathy for such people. His eyes became sharp and his body flashed, creating dozens of illusions. This was the power of the Phantom Thunder Steps when he mastered it. Each of the illusions could be passed off as real, and people couldn't tell the real from the fake. The 2nd sky of the spiritual ocean realm, too weak. Die. The bald man swung his blade, and the blade light that was dozens of meters long slashed out, covering all the illusions around him. Ping 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 ping. With one slash, more than half of the illusions were destroyed. Petty tricks, watch how I kill you with one slash. The bald man laughed loudly. Is that so? A faint voice came from behind the bald man. What? The bald man was shocked. He didn't see when Lin Xian ran behind him. Blade Ring Mountain. The bald man gritted his teeth and roared. Countless streams of saber chi shot out from his body, instantly forming a hazy mountain that stood behind him. At the same time he quickly turned his body, wanting to cut Lin Xian under his blade. The bald man was just about to move, but his body suddenly stiffened. The blade that was as cold as autumn water pierced his heart, causing blood to splatter. No, impossible, how could you break through my defense? The bald man's voice became softer and softer. Finally, his head tilted and he fell down. Until his death, he still didn't believe that a martial artist at the 2nd sky of the spiritual ocean realm could break through his defense. The power of the wind lightning spike is greater than I imagined. Lin Xian took off the bald man's storage ring and charged into the pack of wolves once again. Whoa! Wolf howls rang out, sounding desolate. Everyone turned around and saw the bald man lying in a pool of blood. What? Aguang is dead. Who killed him? The group of wolf bandits fell into a frenzy as they all looked at Lin Xian. It's you? A martial artist in the 2nd sky of the spiritual ocean realm? How is it possible? Countless wolf bandits shouted crazily. In the distance, Lu Yang and Vivian also exclaimed in surprise. They looked at Lin Xian as if they were looking at a monster. Brat, how dare you kill a member of our Ice Wolf Regiment? Die. A strong man with 2 hammers in his hands was riding a snow wolf as he quickly rushed over. The green wind under Lin Xian's feet spun, and his body turned into a gust of wind, drifting around. His footwork was unconstrained and there was no pattern to it. Ding, ding, ding. A series of sparks flew out, followed by the dense sound of metal clashing. Countless sword shadows appeared in front of the strong man, forming a sword curtain. Shocked, he used his hammers to protect himself. At the same time, the snow wolf he was riding on launched an attack. Whoosh, whoosh. Its sharp claws were waving, tearing the air apart as it clawed at Lin Xian. A phantom was clawed and exploded, turning into spiritual power and disappearing. Lin Xian's real body had already retreated to the back. With a shake of his wrist, several 10-meter-long sword chi shot out. Golden Snake Travel. This was the sword technique used by the Sword Mark Youth, and now it was used by Lin Xian. After comprehending the Great Dragon Sword print, Lin Xian's attacks were varied. The sword chi in the air turned into giant pythons, pouncing forward. Whoa! The snow wolf that the strong man was riding on roared, spitting out a cloud of icy mist, which was extremely cold. The golden snake formed by the sword chi clashed with the mist, causing an explosion. The horrifying energy spread out in all directions. In the distance, Vivian screamed. Her sleeve had been cut open. The wolf bandit that she was fighting against was a perverted man. His beady eyes were staring at Vivian's body. "Little beauty, I will let you have your fill in a bit." Ah! The surrounding wolf bandits also laughed maniacally. He waved the red spiritual whip in his hand again, drawing a weird arc in the air and tearing Vivian's dress apart. Vivian was terrified. She screamed and kept retreating. "Kid, all of you have to die." The strong man stared at Lin Xian and grinned. Lin Xian snorted. His sword intent surged and the aura on his body became extremely cold. His body turned into a beam of lightning, flying out quickly and approaching the strong man instantly. The Autumn Scar sword was pulled out quickly, and a dragon's roar was heard. The golden sword light flashed, lighting up half of the sky. Lin Xian flashed his body, passing through the strong man and running toward Vivian. Behind him, the strong man raised his hammers in the air, and his pupils enlarged. Suddenly, a trail of blood appeared in between his eyebrows. Then blood started to pour out. Boom! His entire body, along with the snow wolf that he was sitting on, died instantly. His body was split in half and he fell to the ground. Wind style. The air moved and a beam of sword light suddenly flew out from behind the perverted man. The perverted man who was flirting with Vivian suddenly changed his expression. He released his spirit power, forming a spirit power armor. Boom! The sword light landed on the armor, tearing open a horrifying crack. Hee, you can't break it. Before he could finish, the sword light flashed again. The golden sword light surged and attacked like lightning. The perverted man's head flew into the air and was thrown far away. The surrounding wolf bandits all backed off crazily. Their eyes were filled with fear. Thank you," Vivian said while trembling. "Here." Lin Xian took off his white bear coat and threw it to Vivian. Then he turned around and roared at the wolf pack that was running toward him. Mad Lion Roar. The sound wave vibrated, spreading out quickly with Lin Xian as the center. Within the formless sound wave, there was a sharp sword intent, forming a horrifying killing move. Pooh. All the snow wolves and wolf bandits that came in contact with the sound wave had their bodies split open, as if they had been pierced by thousands of swords. However, it was not over yet. Lin Xian flashed again and arrived near Lu Yang. Junior brother Lin. Lu Yang was overjoyed. He had seen all of Lin Xian's attacks. As long as Lin Xian made a move, he would be able to keep his life. Lin Xian's body flashed as he arrived beside Lu Yang and pulled out his Autumn Scar sword. Wind Thunder Sword Wave. This move was a sword skill that he had created by imitating the Mad Lion Roar. Originally, with his strength, he would not be able to create a sword skill. However, with the Great Dragon Sword seal, everything became possible. With Lin Xian as the center, a ring-shaped sword pattern rippled in all directions. Ripples appeared in the air, spreading out like water ripples. From afar it looked like a golden ripple. Everything that came in contact with it was cut in half. As the sword was waved out, silence reigned. Chapter 166. Lin Xian brought Lu Yang back to Wei Wei's side, and then he looked at the battlefield in the distance. Two of the battles were between martial artists at the 7th level of the spiritual ocean realm, and he could not get close to them. The other one was where the Elder in Red was fighting. He was fighting against 3 martial artists at the 5th level of the spiritual ocean realm, and the battle was extremely intense. Some of the snow wolves were fighting against the 2 bloody dragon horses, while the rest of the bandits were rushing towards Lin Xian and the others. Save the bloody dragon horses first, then help the Elder in Red. Lin Xian made up his mind. Holding the Autumn Scar sword, he turned into a flash of lightning and rushed up. At the same time, at the border of the Snow Province, a blue-haired man appeared out of nowhere. He slightly closed his eyes as if he was sensing something. After a while, he suddenly opened his eyes, and a wicked smile appeared on his face. His body shook, and the blue-haired man disappeared from where he was standing. On the snowy land the cold wind was blowing. Lin Xian's body was like a ghost as he shuttled between the snow wolves and the bandits. The long sword in his hand was stabbing out at an even faster speed. Blood splashed everywhere and bodies fell down one after another. The bandits backed off in fear. That seemingly random sword would take away a life every time. This was no longer a battle but a harvest. Yes, a harvest. Lin Xian was like a harvester, harvesting their lives mercilessly. These people all had the urge to curse in their minds. They were the bandits, okay. But now their identities seemed to have been switched. The prey had become the killer and they could only run. Wind-splitting movement. The sword light shone, and the air seemed to have been torn apart. The dozens of people in front of him were torn apart by this power, turning into minced meat. Lin Xian came to the bloody dragon horse and killed the snow wolves around it. The two bloody dragon horses were covered in blood, with horrifying wounds on their bodies. One of them could not hold on any longer and was about to die. Lin Xian sighed, and threw all the demon crystals in the snow wolves' bodies to them. Then his body shook and he ran towards the elder in red. You are looking for death. The three men besieging the red-robed old man had already noticed Lin Xian's existence, but in their opinion killing the red-robed old man was more important. And now Lin Xian was actually rushing towards them. How could these people not be angry? Die, ant. A one-eyed man wielding a long spear turned around and thrust his spear at Lin Xian. The void trembled and a millstone-thick spear light trembled, thrusting towards Lin Xian. This one-eyed man's strength had reached the peak of the fourth layer of the spiritual ocean tier, which was similar to the young man of sword mark. If it were a few days ago, Lin Xian might not even have been able to break through the defense. But now he was confident that he could kill this person. The spiritual energy in his body surged, and Lin Xian's speed suddenly exploded as he flew to the side. Boom! The thick spear light pierced through the ground, forming a terrifying black hole in the ice. Lin Xian's eyes flickered as his purple spirit eyes continued to observe. At the same time his sword will gushed out, raising his combat strength to the maximum. Sword will. The one-eyed man was shocked. No wonder you could kill so many people. You're a genius who comprehended sword will. Then all the more I can't let you live in this world. The one-eyed man gave up on the red-robed old man and rushed towards Lin Xian. After knowing Lin Xian's strength, the red-robed old man wasn't too worried. He attacked the two people in front of him with all his strength. But when Vivian and Lu Yang saw this scene, their little hearts trembled. That was a martial artist close to the fifth layer of the spiritual ocean tier. Could Lin Xian really deal with him? The two couldn't help, so they could only watch nervously from afar. Sweep the world. The one-eyed man wielded his spear with one hand and swept it out. The blue spear light flickered, forming a violent storm. Whoosh, whoosh. Wherever it passed, a thick layer of frost formed, emitting a terrifying chill. Ice attribute. Lin Xian's pupils shrank as he kept retreating. In this world of ice and snow, ice attribute martial artists could definitely explode with super powerful battle power. No wonder this person is only at the fourth layer of the spiritual ocean tier and can participate in the attack on the red-robed old man. Lin Xian's face was serious. The red-robed old man was at the sixth layer of the spiritual ocean tier. Kid, in this place, my attack power is equivalent to a martial artist at the fifth layer of the spiritual ocean tier. You can die in peace. Lin Xian didn't dare to be careless. This one-eyed man's strength was beyond his expectations. Ice attribute martial artists had the ability to slow down and cause frostbite. If he was hit, it would only get worse. Thinking of this, his whole body released golden lightning, as if he was the god of thunder. It's useless. The one-eyed man sneered as the long spear in his hand kept stabbing. Every spear was filled with the power of ice, resonating with the surrounding heaven and earth. The cold air in the surroundings quickly condensed and gathered on the spear light, forming a huge ice pillar. Boom! Lin Xian flicked his sword upwards. The autumn scar sword was like a golden lightning, cutting the huge ice pillar in half. As expected of the sword intent. It is indeed sharp. The one-eyed man sneered as his left hand grasped in the air. Piercing ice spear. The cold air on the ground surged and formed a blue ice spear under Lin Xian's feet, stabbing out abruptly. Lin Xian's body flashed, leaving behind a shadow while his real body escaped into the distance. After the ice spear pierced through Lin Xian's shadow, it didn't stop there. Instead, it shot out like an arrow. At the same time, the one-eyed man stomped his feet, causing the whole ice surface to shake. Welcome to the ice prison. Boom. Boom. The ice surface shattered as two huge hands formed by ice grabbed onto Lin Xian's feet. The horrifying cold air rushed into his body. Cut. Hundreds of sword chi shot out from Lin Xian's body, tearing the ice apart. He stabbed out with his sword, clashing right onto the tip of the ice spear. With a twist of his wrist, the autumn scar sword formed a whirlpool, shattering the ice spear. Kid, you're pretty good. Why don't you join our ice snow group? The one-eyed man yelled. Sorry, I'm not interested. Lin Xian's pupils turned purple. This was the sign of his purple spirit eyes being pushed to the extreme. What last words do you have? Say them all. What? The one-eyed man froze for a moment before laughing out loud. Kid, is your brain frozen? You can't even get close to me in this world of ice and snow. Not to mention killing me? The one-eyed man's face was full of disdain. Is that so? Lin Xian's lips curled up, piercing ice spear. You think you can just shout and it will appear? This is the martial skill of an ice elemental warrior. The one-eyed man was even more disdainful. He even thought that Lin Xian was an idiot. However, in the next moment his face changed drastically. A dangerous aura came from under his feet, as if it was going to tear the ground apart. Impossible. The one-eyed man almost roared out. Although he didn't believe it, he still retreated quickly. In the distance, Vivian and Lu Yang were stunned. Could it be that Lin Xian really knew ice elemental martial arts? But he was obviously a thunder elemental warrior. The two of them were very confused, but they could only watch more carefully. Seeing the one-eyed man retreat, Lin Xian smiled. Welcome to the ice snow prison. These words were exactly the same as what the one-eyed man said. Even the tone was the same. Kid, you're looking for death. Do you believe that I won't tear you apart? The one-eyed man was very angry. He thought that Lin Xian was playing with him. However, he soon realized that he was wrong. Chapter 167. Two large golden hands reached out from the ice and firmly grabbed the one-eyed man's feet. This scene was very familiar. Not long ago, the one-eyed man had used the same martial art on Lin Xian. But now Lin Xian had returned it to him untouched. Impossible. This is impossible. How can you know an ice element martial art? The one-eyed man yelled crazily with a trace of madness in his eyes. Ice element martial art? In the distance, Lu Yang and Wei Wei both had strange expressions. Junior brother Lin is using thunder. Why did that man say it was an ice element martial art? Could it be that the man was scared? The two were confused. Lu Yang looked at the one-eyed man carefully, and his pupils suddenly shrank. Look at his eyes. Lu Yang whispered to Wei Wei. Wei Wei looked up and also yelled out. The one-eyed man's undamaged eye was now purple, as if it was a dream or an illusion. Is this a mental illusion? Lu Yang took a deep breath. How powerful is junior brother Lin's soul power? In the distance on the battlefield, the corners of Lin Xian's mouth curled up slightly. He had indeed used lightning to simulate what had just happened. However, he secretly used his purple spirit eyes to hypnotize the one-eyed man with illusions. In the one-eyed man's eyes, the ice spear was blue, and the spiritual hands that trapped him were also ice element martial arts. He was completely lost in the illusion. Boom. Lin Xian stomped his foot on the ground and dashed forward. In a flash, he arrived in front of the one-eyed man and pulled out the autumn scar sword. One-eyed. A loud yell came from behind. It was like thunder exploding in the air. The one-eyed man's body shook, and he recovered from the illusion. At this moment, a sword light flashed and enveloped him. As an ice element martial artist, the one-eyed man exploded with a powerful force at the end. A huge ice wall rose from the ground and blocked in front of him. At the same time, rows of ice spikes shot towards Lin Xian. The sword light flashed and cut everything in half. The one-eyed man retreated as fast as he could, but he was still one step too slow. His left arm was cut off by the sword chi and blood flowed out. Golden electric arcs exploded at the wound, producing a terrifying destructive power. Freeze. The one-eyed man crazily circulated his spirit energy and sealed half of his body. A layer of blue ice continued to spread and froze the wound. It continued to extend and form an ice soul left hand. Brat, I'm going to tear you to shreds. No one can save you. The one-eyed man's voice was cold and his eyes were like a demon's. The ice around him shattered, turning into pieces of icicles that floated around him. He was infuriated to the extreme. The one-eyed man had never suffered such a loss before, and his opponent was actually only a brat at the second layer of the spiritual ocean realm. You think you still have a chance to live? Lin Xian sneered, the purple light in his eyes flashing again. An invisible soul power rushed out and directly attacked the one-eyed man's soul. For a moment, the one-eyed man held his head and screamed. Whoosh! The autumn scar sword slashed out once again. The air was sliced open as the sword chi of wind and thunder turned into a long dragon, piercing towards the one-eyed man's heart. The sharp edge of the sword sliced through the spirit energy armor, sliced open the inner armor, and pierced into his heart. Plop! The cold body fell down. Lin Xian waved his hand and took away the one-eyed man's storage ring. In the distance, Lu Yang and Wei Wei were shocked. The two bandits that were attacking the red-robed elder roared in anger. Even the martial artists at the seventh layer of the spiritual ocean realm in the distance noticed the situation here. Boom! One of the bandits at the seventh layer of the spiritual ocean realm threw out a blade light at Lin Xian. The blade chi swept across the sky. The 10-meter-long blade chi was like a long rainbow as it slashed down. Lin Xian's pupils shrank as he quickly ran away. Rumble. As the blade chi fell, a horrifying crack appeared on the ground, spreading into the distance. Lin Xian's face was a bit pale. Although he didn't touch the blade chi, the wind brought about by it still made his chest feel stuffy. This was the power of the seventh layer of the spiritual ocean realm. It was far from what a fourth or fifth layer martial artist could compare to. Fortunately, the bandit leader only slashed out once before he was entangled by the middle-aged man from the Thousand Treasures Tower, unable to attack again. Lin Xian let out a sigh of relief. He still couldn't resist a martial artist at the seventh layer of the spiritual ocean realm. However, before he could relax, a strong sense of danger surged in his heart again. It was as if a cold and greedy gaze appeared behind him. Lin Xian's scalp went numb and all the muscles in his body tightened. He spread out his soul power and looked around cautiously. Needless to say, the one who could give him this feeling was definitely the mysterious green-haired man. As expected, in the distant horizon, a figure quickly flew over. The snow on the ground quickly scattered to the sides, and a deep trench appeared on the ice, spreading towards Lin Xian. In a moment, the green-haired man arrived nearby. A cold and dark aura quickly spread out in all directions, making people tremble uncontrollably. Ping ping ping. The two sides who were fighting stopped and looked at the green-haired man warily. Lin Xian's body stiffened. He secretly circulated his spirit power to the extreme, and at the same time, prepared the bronze gauntlet and the yellowed talisman treasure. As long as the situation was not right, he would immediately attack with all his strength. The feeling the green-haired man gave him was even more terrifying than a martial artist at the seventh layer of the spiritual ocean realm. This was not the suppression of spirit power but the throbbing of the soul. The green-haired man took a deep look at Lin Xian, and his green eyes emitted light. He didn't attack immediately but picked up the one-eyed man's corpse on the ground. Gotcha. It was about to take a bite out of the one-eyed man's corpse, sucking it non-stop. In the blink of an eye, the blood essence in the one-eyed man's body was quickly drained, and he finally became a dry corpse. Plop. The green-haired man threw the one-eyed man aside, and then looked for the corpse on the ground again. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. The three experts from the Thousand Treasures Tower came to Lin Xian's side and protected him. Lu Yang and Wei Wei also ran over, looking at the green-haired man with fear. The green-haired man's hair shook, and his 3,000 strands of hair quickly became thick and long, spreading out in all directions. The tail end of the hair transformed into green snakes, which were ferocious and terrifying, and pounced on the corpse on the ground. Buff, buff. The sky full of green hair fluttered, and all of them pierced into the surrounding corpses, and began to crazily absorb the blood essence. How dare you touch the corpse of my ice wolf pack, you're courting death. The two wolf bandit leaders at the seventh layer of the spiritual ocean realm were furious and attacked one after another. A saber light that was dozens of meters long quickly slashed out, cutting the air into two halves. The other person waved his spirit whip, which turned into a dragon in the air, and pounced over with bared fangs and brandished claws. The green-haired man smiled cruelly and reached out with both hands. Two green lights flickered, condensing into a bronze coffin in the air, suppressing the surroundings. Boom, boom, boom. The three energies collided, and a shocking destructive aura erupted. A green-black mushroom cloud rose, followed by a terrifying energy ripple that spread out in all directions. Retreat. The middle-aged man and the white-robed elder took Lin Xian and the others, turned into a bolt of lightning and quickly retreated. Whoosh. Chapter 168. The sky full of black strands rushed towards Lin Xian, piercing through the air. The middle-aged man and the white-robed old man attacked together, releasing a vast amount of energy to block the black strands. Boom, boom, boom. Like a piece of cloth being torn apart, the protective light screen was penetrated. The 3,000 strands of black strands turned into sharp swords, piercing straight towards them. Seniors, I need to borrow your power. At the critical moment, Lin Xian shouted. The ancient armor on his body shone brightly, and an illusory shadow appeared with complicated inscriptions on it. The middle-aged man and the white-robed old man looked at Lin Xian in surprise, then sent their spirit power into the shadow of the armor. Receiving the power of 2 martial artists in the 7th layer of the spiritual ocean realm, the ancient armor shone brightly. The materialized shadow spread out continuously, finally forming a bell-shaped defense, enveloping everyone. Clang, clang, clang. The black strands of black swords clashed against the bell-shaped protective shadow, letting out a clang. Although they didn't penetrate the bell-shaped defense, the huge impact still sent everyone flying far away. We're saved. The few of them landed on the ground, feeling as if they had just survived a disaster. Lin Xian frowned deeply. The blue-haired man's power was beyond his imagination. If he acted alone this time, it would be dangerous. However, before Lin Xian and the others could relax, the 3,000 strands of black strands turned into spirit snakes again. Up in the sky, down on the ground, from all directions, they pounced towards Lin Xian and the others. They had no choice but to work together and form the bell-shaped defense again. Suddenly Lin Xian's heart skipped a beat. He sensed that the mysterious green egg in his storage ring was shaking more and more violently. Is it going to crack open? Lin Xian was puzzled. Little Xian, I have a way to suppress that person, but it's too dangerous, Wine Lord transmitted. No matter what, we have to try. Lin Xian gritted his teeth. He didn't want to live in danger all the time. With a decision made, Lin Xian prepared to act. Seniors, you all go first. Lin Xian instructed, then rushed forward. His speed reached extreme speed, leaving a trail of light in the air. Quickly taking out the green egg, Lin Xian held it in his arms. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. The 3,000 strands of black strands felt the aura of the green egg and turned into a square midway, abandoning Thousand Treasure Tower and the others, all rushing towards Lin Xian. The expressions of the white-robed elder and company changed. They saw that Lin Xian was about to be pierced, but there was nothing they could do. Phantom Thunder Step. Lin Xian shouted in a low voice as his body turned into hundreds of light shadows and scattered in all directions. For a moment, the sky and the ground were filled with Lin Xian's illusions. Pu. Of the black strands of the black strands of the 3 of God. Lin Xian's true body quickly approached the azure-haired man. He wanted to use Lord Alcohol's strength to seal the azure-haired man. 500 meters, 300 meters, 100 meters. Lin Xian's figure continued to sway, and finally came to a place only 10 meters away from the green-haired man. A black vortex appeared out of thin air in front of him, spinning rapidly, emitting a devouring force. At this time, the green egg in Lin Xian's arms made a cracking sound. The eggshell cracked open and a furry little thing came out. It was only the size of a palm, covered in snow-white fur and curled up. A cold wind blew and the little thing opened its eyes in a daze. Its big black eyes were like black gemstones shining brightly. Wuji. The little thing called out to the 2 of them in a daze, then grabbed Lin Xian's clothes and crawled. Lin Xian was stunned and so was the green-haired man. Inside the mysterious small sword, Wine Lord exclaimed softly and stopped moving. The black vortex in front of him became smaller and smaller, and finally disappeared in the air. Lin Xian stared blankly at the palm-sized monkey in his arms, and his brain short-circuited. A monkey can appear from the green egg? Lin Xian realized that his outlook on life had collapsed. The snow-white monkey stuck closely to Lin Xian, and it made wooji sounds. It was very cute. Looking at the snow-white monkey, Lin Xian thought of the few monkeys that had given him the green egg. These monkeys looked similar, but Lin Xian's was smaller. Rubbing his head, Lin Xian looked cautiously at the green-haired man in front of him. The green-haired man looked at the snow-white monkey with a trace of doubt on his face, but more than that, there was fear. He's afraid of this monkey? Lin Xian was very surprised. The snow-white monkey seemed to feel the green-haired man's gaze, and it slowly turned its head. One of its claws grabbed Lin Xian's clothes, and the other grabbed its eyelids, and made a face at the green-haired man. Whoosh! A green light flashed, bringing with it a gust of wind. The green-haired man in front of him seemed to have seen something terrifying, and immediately ran away. That kind of speed made one stunned. Lin Xian took a deep breath, and stared blankly at the little thing in his arms. All along, he thought that the green-haired man saw the green egg as life essence and wanted to seize it. But today's situation made him change his mind. The green-haired man was scared away. This kind of thing was too inconceivable. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Figures quickly rushed over from afar. Lin Xian put away the broken eggshell, and then let out a sigh of relief. "Are you all right?" the red-robed old man and the others asked with concern. Lin Xian shook his head. "Thank you seniors for your concern, I'm fine." "Where's that person?" Lu Yang asked with lingering fear. "Gone." Lin Xian let out a breath and said fiercely. Hearing this, they all let out a sigh of relief. Among them, the middle-aged man and the white-robed old man looked to the side. Their two wolf bandit leaders in the 7th layer of the spiritual ocean tier stood in a sorry state, with wounds of various sizes on their bodies. Around them there were countless corpses, some of which had already dried up. The two wolf bandits glared at Lin Xian and the others and then quickly left. The cold wind whistled and snow fell. The surroundings became silent again. There was a faint smell of blood in the air, reminding everyone of what had just happened. Wuji! Wuji! The snow-white little monkey hung on Lin Xian's body, crying out pitifully. What a cute little monkey! Vivian saw it, and the fear in her heart was forgotten. Can I hug it? Vivian's eyes shone with stars. Lin Xian was stunned and nodded numbly. Vivian picked up the little monkey and a smile appeared on her face. Old Bai, what should we do now? Lu Yang asked. They couldn't do it here. The smell of blood would attract some demonic beasts in the ice field. Everyone came to the front of the chariot, and found that the injured bloody dragon horse was already dead. The other one was kneeling on the ground, whining. Without the bloody dragon horse, our speed will be much slower, the red-robed old man said with a frown. If you want to find someone to pull the chariot, I might have a way. Lin Xian touched his chin and said. Everyone looked at him. Now no one could ignore Lin Xian's opinion. His previous performance was too amazing and everyone was stunned. I might be able to tame a few snow wolves and let them replace the bloody dragon horse. The red-robed old man and the middle-aged man looked at Lin Xian in surprise, not believing him. Although inscription masters had strong soul power, they were not beast tamers. Without special techniques, they couldn't tame demonic beasts. Chapter 169. The red-robed elder and the other two were suspicious, but Lu Yang and Wei Wei exclaimed. Yes, junior brother Lin knows illusions. He can definitely tame the snow wolves. Lu Yang shouted. Lu Yang then told them about the battle between Lin Xian and the one-eyed man. If that's the case, we can give it a try, the white-robed elder said. After that, Lin Xian and the others caught a few snow wolves and let Lin Xian try taming them. Purple light flickered in his eyes, and an invisible soul spirit seeped into the snow wolves' minds. When the purple spirit eyes reached the 3rd level, it was possible to use a secret technique that could control souls. With the help of the great dragon sword seal, Lin Xian quickly placed a slave seal in the snow wolves' minds. The snow wolves were tamed by Lin Xian, and they surrounded Lin Xian, wagging their tails. They were amazed, and their understanding of Lin Xian increased again. With the snow wolves, the carriage's speed increased, and it only took them 5 days to reach Ice Snow City. Lin Xian sat in the carriage, closing his eyes to recover, and the little white monkey was lying on his shoulder. Lu Yang and Wei Wei were slightly injured, and they were also recovering quietly. Lin Xian was the first to wake up. He spread his soul power into the storage ring and began to tidy up the spoils of war. Most of the storage rings were filled with spirit stones, elixirs and some weapons and martial arts, but Lin Xian didn't care about them. After a quick calculation, there were about 200,000 low-grade spirit stones and some recovery elixirs. After putting away the storage rings, Lin Xian took out a blue ring, which was the one-eyed man's storage ring. I wonder if there are any ice martial arts? Lin Xian was looking forward to it. Using his soul power, Lin Xian sensed an independent space the size of a room. There were 5 big boxes and all of them were filled with low-grade spirit stones. Lin Xian sensed that there were about 100,000 spirit stones in each box, and there were a total of 500,000 low-grade spirit stones. Lin Xian sighed. The one-eyed man's identity must be extraordinary. In addition to the low-grade spirit stones, there was also a box of middle-grade spirit stones, which contained about 10,000 pieces. Lin Xian swallowed his saliva and felt a burst of excitement in his heart. Mid-grade spirit stones were much more precious than low-grade spirit stones. One mid-grade spirit stone could be exchanged for 100 low-grade spirit stones. However, under normal circumstances, no martial artist would exchange mid-grade spirit stones for low-grade spirit stones. Because the spirit chi contained in the middle-grade spirit stones was relatively pure, not only could Spirit Sea Realm martial artists absorb it, even martial artists of the three spirit realms could absorb it. Although it still needed to be refined, it was much better than low-grade spirit stones. Therefore, the value of this chest of mid-grade spirit stones far exceeded the value of the 5 chests of low-grade spirit stones. These bandits must have killed a lot of people after robbing so much wealth. I'm doing the people a favor. Lin Xian shook his head and sighed. Plundering was indeed the fastest way to gather wealth. In addition to the spirit stones, there were other things inside. Lin Xian directly skipped over some of the weapons and pills, as he shifted his gaze onto the cultivation method. Found it. Lin Xian's eyes lit up as he stared at a book. Ice Snow Mystic Art. It's actually a low-grade spirit tier cultivation method. Lin Xian was surprised. He didn't expect the one-eyed man's cultivation method to be so advanced. Luckily, I have purple spirit pupil and can use illusions. Otherwise, it would definitely be a fierce battle. Lin Xian was right. Although the one-eyed man's cultivation was at the peak of the 4th layer of the Spirit Sea Realm, he wasn't weak at all compared to martial artists at the 5th layer of the Spirit Sea Realm. Especially in this world of ice and snow, normal martial artists at the 5th layer of the Spirit Sea Realm wouldn't dare to provoke him. This was a martial art for cultivating spirit chi. Although Lin Xian couldn't cultivate it, he could get inspiration from it. He had the Great Dragon Sword seal and could completely evolve it. Moreover, the art of longevity he cultivated was even more extraordinary and could transform into any attribute. Memorizing the Ice Snow Mystic Art, Lin Xian followed the instructions and circulated his spirit chi. A wisp of icy air overflowed from his palm. He placed his hand on the chair he was sitting on, and instantly, a layer of frost spread at a speed visible to the naked eye. The snow-white little monkey shook its body and curled up into a ball, lying on Lin Xian's shoulder. Lu Yang and Wei Wei were also awakened by the cold air and looked around in bewilderment. Finally, Lu Yang pulled the curtains tight to prevent the wind and snow from coming in, and then closed his eyes to adjust his breathing again. Lin Xian didn't say anything, but continued to comprehend the Great Dragon Sword seal while speeding up his familiarity with the Ice Attribute martial art. With the Ice Attribute martial art, his battle prowess could be improved again. Time passed quickly, and in the blink of an eye, 4 days had passed. During this time, Lin Xian's cultivation broke through again, reaching the 3rd layer of the Spirit Sea Realm. Compared to Lin Xian's terrifying attacks, his cultivation didn't attract the attention of others. However, if they knew that Lin Xian only used a month's time to go from the 2nd layer of the Spirit Sea Realm to the 3rd layer of the Spirit Sea Realm, their hearts would probably jump out. As everyone knew, the higher one's cultivation was, the harder it was to improve. A normal martial artist would need about a year's time to go from the 2nd layer of the Spirit Sea Realm to the 3rd layer of the Spirit Sea Realm. Of course, if one's cultivation method was of a high level or had the help of medicinal pills, this time could be halved. However, Lin Xian only used a month's time. Seeing that they were about to arrive at Ice Snow City, Lin Xian didn't comprehend other martial arts, but worked hard to consolidate his own realm, allowing his body to quickly adapt to the cultivation. After a day, he opened his eyes. Outside the carriage, the snow wolves slowed down. Lin Xian opened the window and looked ahead. A huge black shadow appeared in front of him, like a huge mountain, occupying the land of ice and snow. That's Ice Snow City, the largest city in the Snow Province, and also the city closest to the snow-seeking sect, Wei Wei said, looking into the distance. The 2 carriages moved slowly and gradually arrived at the city gate. 2 black iron gates that were more than 10 meters tall were emitting a cold light. 2 rows of guards stood on both sides of the gate. Their auras were powerful and there was a faint murderous aura. Lin Xian was surprised. The cultivation of these guards were all above the Spirit Sea Realm, which was far from what the cities in the Cloud Province could compare to. After paying the spirit stones, Lin Xian and the others entered the city. The streets in the city were very wide, more than 10 meters wide, and there were countless shops on both sides. Although the weather was cold, the city was full of life. Hawkers could be heard everywhere, and most of them were selling delicious food. As pedestrians walked by, the tempting aroma hit their noses. Lin Xian and the others' carriages moved slowly on the street. 6 snow wolves led the way, looking mighty and extraordinary. Which force is this? They can actually tame snow wolves. A martial artist was surprised. All the martial artists in the snow province knew that snow wolves were demonic beasts that were very difficult to tame. Apart from the ice wolves bandits, very few people could tame them. And now someone was using snow wolves to pull a carriage. Under everyone's envious gazes, the 2 carriages moved into the distance. Someone went to the battle stage. Just as everyone was envious of the snow wolves pulling the carriage, a martial artist shouted from afar. Immediately the surrounding martial artists all moved and rushed inside. Lin Xian and the others were curious, so they got off the carriage and asked, "Brother, what happened?" Wei Wei asked. When the martial artist saw that it was a beauty, he laughed and said, "You just entered the city, right? A large number of martial artists have entered the city these few days, and there are often competitions. This time, it's said that the geniuses on the hidden dragon list are going to fight." The martial artist said and left in a hurry. Chapter 170. Lin Xian and the other young people were quite excited about the hidden dragon roll competition. They came to the 1,000 Treasure Tower stronghold in Ice Snow City. Lin Xian and the other 2 went to the battle stage in the city. They didn't need to ask anyone. They just had to follow the crowd. Ice Snow City was huge. They walked for a long time before arriving. There was an arena that was dozens of meters long in front of them. It was crowded with people and there were cheers from time to time. Lin Xian and the other 2 were in the crowd and looked at the arena. There were 2 martial artists fighting fiercely on the arena. The vast spiritual power was shocking. Both of them were experts on the hidden dragon roll. They had all kinds of unique skills. It was a fierce battle. Until the end of the battle, the crowd still wanted to continue. Lin Xian had also gained something, and he had a new understanding of some martial arts. After the 2 of them left the arena, another person quickly went up. It was a skinny young man. His eyes were as sharp as a knife. "Song Bao, it's Song Bao!" Someone in the crowd exclaimed. Lin Xian squinted his eyes and looked at the skinny young man. He knew this person. He was a disciple of the Tsang family in Guangning City. He was Tsang Lei's brother and the top expert in Guangning City. Whoosh! Another figure went up the arena. It was a young man with a pale face. "Let me see how strong you are," the young man said. "Tong Chen, you're no match for me." Song Bao's voice was cold with a hint of contempt. "We'll know after we fight." Tong Chen's eyes shone brightly. "Tong Chen, it's him? His injuries are healed." Some of the surrounding martial artists exclaimed in surprise. Many martial artists knew the geniuses on the hidden dragon roll very well. Those who didn't know quickly found out about the feud between the 2 after asking around. Suddenly, many people were very excited. This was a fated battle. "Humph, a sick person dares to fight with my brother? He's courting death." In the crowd, Tsang Lei sneered. The disciples of the Tsang family behind him also booed and hooted. On the other side, the disciples of the Tong family didn't dare to show any weakness and started to fight back. "Fight! Fight! Fight!" The surrounding cultivators shouted one after another. Their voices were like a tide, causing the void to tremble. In a pavilion far away, some of the older generation members of some forces were also paying attention. The elders of the Tsang family looked at the battle stage with proud smiles on their faces. Bao Er's cultivation has improved again, and he has reached the 5th level of the 7-layered Thunder Blade. He already has the power to be in the top 40 of the Hidden Dragon rank. Tong Chen can't compete with him. It would be best if we could heavily injure that brat from the Tong clan and break the Tong clan's hopes. A bearded elder snorted. In another direction, the elders of the Tong clan were also watching. Chinner's body has just recovered. I'm afraid it will be a little difficult for him to make a move now. Many elders were worried. The head of the Tong family sighed. Chinner has been bedridden for half a year and has long been dissatisfied. How could he let go of this opportunity? I hope Chinner can win. The elder of the Tong family prayed in his heart. On the battle stage, Song Bao sneered. We're no longer on the same level. Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. After saying that, he stomped his feet and a powerful force burst out from his body. Blue lightning flashed and spiritual power swept out in all directions like lightning. Song Bao's presence was much stronger than Song Lei's, and he was in the late stage of the 4th level of the spiritual ocean realm. Another thunder element martial artist. Lin Xian's eyes flashed as he used the purple spirit pupil and looked at the stage. Take my blade. Song Bao shouted as the long blade in his hand slashed out like lightning. Like thousands of lightning bolts, the 10-meter-long blade light turned into blue lightning and struck down. Star sword art. Tong Chen's pale hand moved quickly, and the long sword formed a starry curtain in the air, which was extremely bright. Rumble, the blade chi slashed on the starry curtain and made a rumbling sound. Ripples appeared on the colorful starry curtain, as if it would break at any time. Luckily, the starry curtain successfully blocked the blade light. Since the first attack failed, Song Bao attacked again and Tong Chen also fought back fiercely. The blade light was like lightning and the sword chi was like stars. The spiritual power in the air vibrated, and the rumbling sound did not stop. The two's speed was extremely fast, leaving behind afterimages on the stage. Some of the weaker martial artists could not even see their movements and only a few could keep up with them. Lin Xian's eyes flashed with purple light as he saw their movements clearly. He sighed slightly. Tong Chen is going to lose. Lu Yang and Wei Wei's soul power were not ordinary, so they could see the situation clearly. Wei Wei was confused, but I think they are evenly matched. Yeah, at least Tong Chen is not losing at all. Lu Yang was also confused. Some of the nearby martial artists heard Lin Xian's words and turned around. When they saw Lin Xian's third sky of spiritual ocean realm cultivation, they all shook their heads and sneered. How could a third sky of spiritual ocean realm martial artist understand the situation on the stage? He probably could not even see the movements of the two on the stage. Kid, don't talk nonsense if you don't understand. Can you see the situation on the stage clearly? Yeah, even we can't see it. What can you see? The martial artists all laughed. Lu Yang snorted and looked at the crowd with an unfriendly expression. He slowly spread out his soul power. A faint pressure appeared in the air, and the crowd trembled, feeling an indescribable pressure. Forget it. Lin Xian waved his hand. Lu Yang glanced at the crowd again, and then withdrew his soul power. So scary. What just happened? Why do I feel my body trembling? Some of the martial artists looked at Lu Yang in fear. They had never cultivated their soul power, so they were naturally no match for Lu Yang. However, what made them even more terrified was that this person who made their hearts palpitate actually listened to a third sky of spiritual ocean realm martial artist. And this martial artist they just laughed at. Who is this kid? The crowd looked at Lin Xian and felt a chill down their spines. Lin Xian ignored the crowd and said indifferently, one is attacking and the other is retreating. Tong Chen's aura is weaker than his. Plus, he has been suppressed for a long time, so I'm afraid it will make him feel defeated. Secondly, their strength was on par half a year ago, but Tong Chen was sick for half a year, while Song Bao was improving every day. The gap between the two is bigger than expected. Thirdly, Tong Chen's star defense consumed too much spiritual power. I'm afraid it can't be maintained for a long time. And Song Bao's saber technique is like thunder in the clouds. The further it goes, the more powerful it is. Lu Yang and Wei Wei suddenly realized that they only saw the surface and didn't see much. On the other hand, not only had Lin Xian grasped the two's martial techniques and cultivation, he had even taken into account their emotions. What kind of terrifying eyesight was this? The surrounding martial artists couldn't help but nod. They were even more curious about Lin Xian's identity. Sure enough, a moment later, there was a shocking change on the stage. The five-colored star finally couldn't withstand it and was cut in half by the saber. Tong Chen flew out with blood at the corner of his mouth. Ah, Brother Bao is mighty. The disciples of the Tsang family shouted and cheered. On the other hand, the Tong family was silent, and their faces were filled with unwillingness. Song Bao's attack succeeded, but he didn't stop. Blue lightning flashed and turned into a dazzling saber light, slashing at Tong Chen who was on the ground. No. Chapter 171. The change in the arena caused an uproar among the martial artists. The disciples of the Tong family shouted angrily, but there was nothing they could do. Song Bao was too powerful. He was so powerful that they could not resist. In the pavilion far away, the elders of the Tong family were shocked. The master of the Tong family leaped up, and his aura exploded like a flood. However, Song Bao's blade was too fast. They were too far away and could not do anything in time. They could only watch. The blade radiance was like lightning as it slashed down mercilessly. Lin Xian remained calm. He flicked his finger and a wisp of cold air with a trace of sword essence shot out. At the same time, a white feather flew out from another direction toward the arena. Boom, boom, boom. Frost sword finger collided with the blade radiance and quickly froze. The sword essence destroyed the blade radiance. Swoosh. The white feather was like a sharp arrow. It collided with the lightning blade radiance and created a shockwave. A ball of energy exploded, and a strong wind swept in all directions. Everyone retreated, afraid that they would be affected. Lin Xian's eyes flickered with purple light. He saw someone running up the arena and he knew that person. He immediately calmed down. The light dissipated and everyone looked over eagerly. On the stage, a young man dressed in white had appeared out of nowhere, looking very elegant. Tong Chen's face was pale and he was in low spirits. The opponent that he had originally suppressed had now completely surpassed him. This change was something that he could not accept for a moment. In the pavilion far away, the elders of the Tsang family snorted when they saw this. The disciples of the White Feather sect are really meddlesome. The Tong family's kid is lucky to have escaped this calamity. A few elders sneered. Tsang Bao's strength has improved greatly. I wonder if he can defeat this opponent? The eyes of the Tsang family's grand elder flickered, and he was looking forward to it. However, I seem to have sensed another person's attack. On the other side, the elders of the Tong family heaved a sigh of relief, and their hearts were at ease. It's fine as long as Tong Chen is fine. Xiao will catch up sooner or later. The master of the Tong family looked at the battle arena with a trace of doubt in his heart. Just now I clearly felt an icy intent. Could it be that someone is secretly making a move? As a harmonious spirit realm warrior, his perception was far superior to a Sea of Soul realm warrior. Just now he clearly felt two different forces colliding with the Thunder Blade, but he couldn't find the source of that force. Suddenly he saw Lin Xian in the crowd. Could it be him? The head of the Tong family was shocked. Other than the White Feather sect of the Qing province, only Lin Xian could stand up for the Tong family. The head of the Tong family took a deep look at Lin Xian before slowly sitting down. On the battle stage, the white-clothed young man stood in front of Tong Chen and said in a deep voice, "Aren't you a little too ruthless? When sparring, it's inevitable to make mistakes. Isn't it normal to get injured?" Tsang Bao sneered. Anyway, he has been lying in bed for half a year. Even if he lies in bed for a few more days, there's nothing wrong with that. Tong Chen was so angry that his body was trembling. He clenched his fists so tightly that his fingernails dug into his flesh. Blood flowed down his palms. The disciples of the Tong family were furious. They cursed and scolded, but no one could defeat Tsang Bao. This made them feel very aggrieved. This guy is really arrogant. In the crowd, Vivian said angrily. Lu Yang was puzzled. Just now he felt Lin Xian's attack. That chi made his heart tremble. Could it be that the Tong family is related to him? Do you want me to help? Lu Yang probed. No need. Just watch. Lin Xian shook his head. The people of the White Feather sect should be able to deal with it. Just as Lin Xian and the others were talking, the battle stage changed again. Tong Chen walked down the stage with a lonely face. The white-clothed young man wanted to compete with Tsang Bao. Haha, Wensu, your ranking is mine. Tsang Bao laughed wildly. Wensu, he is the white feather flying Wensu. He is an expert ranked 47th on the Hidden Dragon roll. The surrounding martial artists were excited. Tsang Bao had threatened to kill Wensu. How arrogant was that? One had to know that although Tsang Bao's strength had increased greatly, his ranking was still in the 60s. Now he was going to challenge Wensu, who was more than 10 ranks higher. This was definitely going to be an earth-shattering battle. As you wish. Wensu was dressed in white. He was handsome and had a white feather in his hand. The chi on his body had also become ethereal. Haha, 7-layered thunder blade. Tsang Bao roared. Thunder and lightning surrounded his body. The surrounding air was filled with countless thunder and lightning, which fell continuously. Thunder and lightning rumbled in the sky. The air was filled with a dangerous aura. Lin Xian was surprised. He carefully felt the thunder and lightning in the air. There was a trace of surprise on his face. What a pure power of thunder and lightning. Lin Xian praised in his heart. This is nothing. I will teach you a Thunder Dao martial technique. I guarantee that you will leave him in the dust. Wine Lord said disdainfully. Really? Lin Xian was delighted. He had asked Wine Lord for martial techniques more than once. However, he had been rejected because his cultivation was too low. Now, Wine Lord had taken the initiative to teach him. You have the Wind Emperor's sword. If you don't have the corresponding Thunder Dao martial technique, your Wind and Thunder Dao martial technique will be incomplete. Wine Lord revealed the truth. I see. Lin Xian came to a realization. Then he calmed down and accepted Wine Lord's guidance. Just as Lin Xian was learning martial techniques, The two people in the arena had already exchanged dozens of blows. Song Bao's saber technique was thunderous. Every attack was like a lightning dragon. The air was exploding. On the other hand, Wen Su was like a small boat in a sea of thunder. He kept swaying as if the boat would capsize. However, he managed to dodge every single one of them without any mishaps. Whoosh! The white feather in his hand flew out. It pierced through the void and attacked Song Bao's glabella. The air was torn apart like a piece of cloth. Song Bao slashed a few times, forming a dazzling saber radiance that bombarded the white feather. Ka, ka, ka. The white feather looked weak. However, it was like a divine arrow, shattering the lightning saber radiance. Lightning sky strike. Song Bao slashed out again. Blue light shone in all directions. A large blue bird formed by lightning flew out from the saber. It flapped its wings and released countless lightning bolts. With a long cry, the thunderbird flew towards Wen Su while Song Bao shot out like a bolt of lightning. Bang! The white feather pierced through Song Bao's afterimage and hit the ground. A black hole the size of a thumb appeared. It was completely intact and bottomless. In another direction, the thunderbird pounced towards Wen Su. It was as if a lightning mountain was pressing down on him. Bo, bo. Wen Su's spiritual power vibrated and formed a pair of white wings behind him. He flapped his wings and flew out. Whoosh! Is this the white feather sect's secret technique, white feather spreading wings? Everyone exclaimed. Lu Yang and Wei Wei also sighed. With such a secret technique, one could almost fly for a short period of time. This was something that all Sea of Spirit Realm martial artists dreamed of. Flying was a skill that only martial artists above the Spirit Realm could possess. No matter who it was in the Sea of Spirit Realm, having the ability to fly was no different from having an additional layer of protection. Lu Yang looked towards Lin Xian. However, he found that the latter's eyes were slightly closed as if he was asleep. He didn't pay attention to the situation on the arena at all. At this moment, Wen Su's voice sounded on the arena. Chapter 172. The white feather behind Wen Su vibrated and floated in the air. He took out a feather fan, and an invisible aura rose from his body. White feather kill. Wen Su fanned the feather fan in his hand, and a blinding light lit up. The surrounding clouds tumbled and shot into the sky. The shadow of a giant bird emerged from the sea of clouds. It flapped its wings and swooped down. 7-layered thunder blade, 5 blades in one. Song Bao also used his strongest attack. The thunder and lightning blade cut through the void and split everything. It carried an endless murderous aura as it slashed forward. The 5 dazzling blade lights merged and the entire void trembled. It was as if the sky had split open, and it made people's hearts tremble. Rumble, a loud sound spread across half of Ice Snow City. The weaker martial artists nearby were all pushed back by the force, and some even suffered internal injuries. Lu Yang and Vivian conjured up a light barrier that enveloped Lin Xian as well. In the distance, the elders of the Tsang family all stood up and looked at the arena nervously. The group of martial artists also steadied themselves and craned their necks to look. Song Bao's face was a little pale, and his chest was heaving up and down. Obviously, this move had consumed a lot of his energy. On the other side, Wen Su landed on the ground with a complicated expression. Who won? Everyone was curious. Vivian looked at Lin Xian and sighed. If Lin Xian was watching the battle, he would definitely be able to tell. However, he closed his eyes and remained silent. A piece of sleeve fell from the sky like a large snowflake, pure white and flawless. That seems to be Wen Su's sleeve. Finally, someone said with a trembling voice. What? Everyone was shocked and looked carefully. Sure enough, they found that Wen Su's right sleeve was missing a piece. You won. Wen Su sighed and turned to walk down the battle arena. Brother Bao is mighty, Brother Bao is mighty. The disciples of the Tsang family all shouted loudly, and their faces were full of pride. Everyone was shocked and they were even more afraid of Tsang Bao. If there were no accidents, Tsang Bao's ranking would definitely be in the top 50 or even top 40. The elders of the Tsang family heaved a sigh of relief, and their eyes flickered. If everything goes smoothly, our Tsang family will soon become the #1 family in the Azure province. The few elders were excited. Tsang Bao walked off the stage and did not continue the competition. He needed a good rest. However, the Tsang family didn't stop there. Tsang Lei's face was full of arrogance. He jumped directly into the ring and shouted, Last time I beat up a few people from Yunzhou, but they were not convinced. Now I'll give you a chance. I'll stand here and wait for you Cloud State warriors. Tsang Lei's words were insolent and arrogant. Everyone was silent. Song Bao's performance just now made them not dare to offend the Song family's disciples. The surrounding martial artists had strange expressions on their faces. Many of the newcomers did not know what was going on. I don't know why the Song family is targeting the warriors of the Cloud Prefecture. In the past few days, many warriors of the Cloud Prefecture have been injured by the Song family. So that's how it is. After understanding the situation, many people had sympathetic looks on their faces. The disciples of the Tong family all had gloomy expressions. They knew that the reason that Song family did this was because of Lin Xian. If Big Brother Lin was here, they wouldn't dare to be so arrogant. Tong Yu's face was full of anger. The disciples of the Cloud State in the crowd had bitter expressions. They did not understand why the Song family would target them. In the pavilion far away, the elders of the Tong family also sighed and shook their heads. The Song family's power has been established. I'm afraid we're in danger. Not necessarily. The head of the Tong family said in a low voice, Lin Xian is already here. What? Lin Xian, that kid is here. The elders' faces were full of joy. They did not forget the situation that day. Lin Xian used the cultivation of the second sky of the spiritual sea realm to shake Zhang Lei, who was at the peak of the third sky of the spiritual sea realm. He even faintly suppressed the opponent. If Lin Xian is here, he can definitely defeat Zhang Lei. Some elders were excited. So what? The Zhang family still has Zhang Bao with abnormal strength. I'm afraid that those who are ranked 45th on the Hidden Dragon list and below can't defeat him. The elders had different opinions. Some were happy and some were worried. No matter what, at least we can suppress the Zhang family's arrogance. This was the last hope of the Tong family. In another pavilion, the elders of the three sects of the Cloud Prefecture were all here. These people's faces were very ugly. Their disciples were all injured and some were still lying on the bed. They've gone too far. Let's go find the Zhang family and ask for an explanation. An elder of the Lotus Glory sect suddenly stood up. Forget it. Wouldn't people like us be laughing at our Cloud Prefecture when juniors fight? An elder of the Purple Cloud sect said in a low voice. On the battle martial stage, Zhang Lei had a smug expression. With a command, he shocked everyone to the point that they did not dare to go on stage. This feeling was too good. Martial artists of the Cloud Prefecture, listen well. If you meet Lin Xian, tell him that I'm not to be trifled with. Tell him to obediently kowtow and admit his mistake. Zhang Lei's voice spread everywhere. Lin Xian? Who is Lin Xian? What did he do? The surrounding martial artists were puzzled. Some of the disciples of the three sects of the Cloud Prefecture had a drastic change in expression, as if they remembered something terrifying. Lin Xian, the scum of the Cloud Prefecture, actually sneak attacked our Zhang family's disciples. If you want to blame someone, blame that Lin Xian. In the crowd, Murong Qianling and the others had strange expressions. Could the Lin Xian he's talking about be Junior Brother Lin? Impossible. Wasn't Junior Brother Lin trapped in the trial ground of blood? It must be someone with the same name. But that person claimed to be from the Cloud Prefecture, so he should be Junior Brother Lin. Murong Qianling had a trace of expectation in her heart. Lin Xian came out, he's still alive. Not only were they surprised, but the elders of the three sects of the Cloud Prefecture were even more shocked. Lin Xian, he came out? In the pavilion, everyone looked at the Black Sky sect, and many people's expressions trembled. Elder Duanmu laughed bitterly. You don't have to look at me, I don't know anything. However, I hope that he really came out. That way our Cloud Prefecture will be saved. Everyone was silent. Elder Duanmu was right. If it really was that Lin Xian, he should be able to save the reputation of the Cloud Prefecture. He had comprehended sword intent and obtained the inheritance. No one knew how far he would grow. The two words Lin Xian seemed to have a magical power, causing everyone to be shocked. Other than the elders of the three sects, when the other forces of the Cloud Prefecture heard this, their hearts burned with passion. That was the person who obtained the inheritance. We must capture him and ask for the martial arts inheritance. The Ling family's elder said coldly. In the crowd, Vivian and Lu Yang looked at each other and then looked at Lin Xian. They didn't expect that Lin Xian had a grudge with the Zhang family, and they didn't expect that Lin Xian was actually a martial artist from the Cloud Prefecture. That was the most backward place. How could such a freak appear here? Nonsense, Big Brother Lin didn't sneak attack you. It's your Zhang family that's shameless and wanted to take our spiritual grass. Big Brother Lin couldn't stand it, so he attacked. Tong Yu was so angry that she was crying. This news was like a heavy bomb, causing everyone to faint. It seemed that the matter wasn't as simple as it seemed on the surface. It might involve some aristocratic families. At least there was the shadow of the Tsang family and the Tong family. For a moment, everyone had a strong interest in this martial artist named Lin Xian. "You're courting death." In the arena, Song Lei was furious and punched out. Chapter 173. Tong Yu's words enraged Song Lei. He could not wait to kill Tong Yu. He punched out with both fists. Lightning surged and intertwined to form a ferocious thunder beast. It bared its fangs and brandished its claws as it pounced towards the Tong family. "Let's do it together." Tong Lan gave a low shout, and the few people beside him formed a sword formation. An ancient sword shadow flashed and destroyed the thunder beast. Come at me together if you dare. I'll play with you," Song Lei said arrogantly. The Tong family disciples were livid. They had to work together to block Song Lei's attack. They were no match for him alone. Song Lei's punch stunned the Tong family disciples. He then looked in another direction. "I heard that you're the number one of the younger generation in Yunzhou. Come and fight me." Song Lei sneered as he pointed at a young man in the Yunzhou martial artist area. "You're Jianghu, right? Number 88 on the hidden dragon roll." Jianghu's expression changed. After he came out from the trials of blood, his strength had increased tremendously. He had finally reached number 88 on the hidden dragon roll. He was considered the most powerful among the younger generation in Yunzhou. However, he did not expect that this ranking would bring him danger. Jianghu felt the terrifying aura from Song Lei. He did not have any fighting spirit. The corner of his mouth twitched. Jianghu said softly, "I'm not the number one in Yunzhou. I can't represent Yunzhou." "Oh, if you're not, then who is?" Song Lei's lips curled into an evil smile. When the surrounding Yunzhou martial artists heard this, their hearts raced. They were afraid that Jianghu would throw the title of number one to them, especially those who were similar in strength to Jianghu. They were so scared that their foreheads were sweating. "Lin Xian. He's the number one in Yunzhou," Jianghu said in a low voice. Since Lin Xian had offended them and they could not find him, Lin Xian could not do anything. As expected, the smile on Song Lei's face disappeared. "You dare to tease me?" A sliver of lightning appeared on his body, throbbing violently. "All right, don't make it difficult for them. I'll fight you." Murong Qianling stood out. "Murong, don't be rash." Some people advised her softly. She was not his match. The Yunzhou disciples can be defeated, but they cannot run. "Even if I lose, I still want to go up." Murong Qianling's eyes were firm. On the side, Wan Jianxing, Yuan Fei, Xie Changfeng, and the others' eyes dimmed. They had all been defeated by Song Lei a few days ago, so it was useless for them to go up now. "Oh, there's finally someone who isn't afraid of death." Song Lei had a playful look on his face. "Not bad, you're quite handsome. Why don't you be my bed-warming maid?" Aqua Moon Sword. Murong Qianling's pretty face was cold as the long sword in her hand quickly stabbed out. A crescent-shaped sword radiance slashed out, like a flower in the mist or a moon in the water. "Too weak." Song Lei punched out with his right fist, shattering the sword chi. At the same time, it formed a giant hand of thunder and lightning, grabbing toward Yi Futian. Murong Qianling's face was pale. The other party's strength was too powerful. She was not a match at all. However, it was impossible for her to admit defeat just like that. Murong Qianling's body floated and dodged unceasingly. In the crowd, Vivian looked at the stage anxiously. Since she knew that Lin Xian was a disciple of the Cloud State, she naturally didn't want any disciple of the Cloud State to get hurt. "Aya, junior brother Lin, why are you cultivating at this time?" Vivian cried out in dissatisfaction. She naturally saw that Lin Xian wasn't sleeping on purpose. Instead, he had fallen into a very strange state. There was a cry of alarm on the stage. Murong Qianling's face was pale as she was about to be swallowed by the thunder and lightning. Vivian gritted her teeth and prepared to make a move. At this moment, Lin Xian in front of her moved. He slowly opened his eyes as if he had just woken up from a deep sleep. Golden electric arcs jumped in his eyes like a flash of lightning. Whoosh! His body swayed and Lin Xian disappeared from his original spot. On the stage, the blue hand of thunder and lightning covered the sky and earth. It was incomparably ferocious and was about to grab Murong Qianling. At this moment, a golden bolt of lightning flashed by at an extreme speed. With a flash of golden light, Murong Qianling's body disappeared. Rumble. The blue hand of thunder and lightning smashed on the ground and a terrifying pit appeared. There was even a trace of black smoke coming out from the surroundings. It didn't hit? Song Lei was stunned and looked around. Everyone was also stunned. Most of them didn't see what had just happened. Only Tsang Bao, Wen Su and a few others saw someone saving Murong Qianling. Behind. The surrounding martial artists quickly shouted. Song Lei suddenly turned his head with a cruel smile on his face. However, when he saw the figure he was stunned. Lin Xian. He gritted his teeth and said, "What? He's Lin Xian?" The surrounding martial artists were in an uproar as they looked at the young man on the stage. Not only them, the martial artists of the Cloud region, the elders of the Tong family, the elders of the three sects of the Cloud region, and other forces were all looking at Lin Xian. "Junior brother Lin, you're finally here." Murong Qianling's beautiful eyes were filled with tears. Ever since Lin Xian participated in the trial of blood, Murong Qianling's identity changed from a teacher to a senior sister. This was the sect's rule. If Lin Xian entered the harmonious spirit realm, perhaps those disciples would have to call him martial uncle. "Senior sister Murong, don't worry. Leave everything to me." Although Lin Xian was comprehending the lightning martial arts, he still left a part of his consciousness outside. Therefore he was aware of everything that happened outside. Murong Qianling nodded and walked down the stage. Only Tsang Lei and Lin Xian were left on the stage. Everyone looked at Lin Xian and carefully sized him up. This was a handsome young man with a slender body and deep eyes. He was wearing a thick white bear coat and there was a furry pet on his shoulder. Is this really the #1 martial artist of the Cloud region who injured the Tsang family's disciple? Everyone was doubtful. This is clearly a neighborhood boy. Lin Xian, you're finally here. I'll break your bones one by one and let you live like a dog for the rest of your life. Song Lei's expression was vicious as if he was a demon from hell. Lin Xian's expression was cold. Since you want to live like this, I'll fulfill your wish. This expression again. Song Lei was going crazy in his heart. Pretend I'll let you pretend. I'll kill you in a while. Hearing Lin Xian's words, the surrounding martial artists were also in an uproar. Although his appearance and cultivation didn't look like the #1 martial artist of the Cloud region, his tone and expression made everyone feel that the young man in front of them wasn't simple. After all, no one dared to offend the Tsang family now. In a pavilion far away, the Tsang family's elders snorted coldly. "Daring to injure my Tsang family's disciple, I'll let you live a life worse than death. Directly suppress him and make him a slave of the Tsang family." The Tsang family's elders were very cruel. The Tong family's elders had a look of anticipation. They were looking forward to Lin Xian defeating Tsang Lei and dampening the Tsang family's prestige. The elders of the three sects of the Cloud region had a look of worry. Lin Xian's cultivation is only at the 3rd layer of the spiritual ocean realm. I'm afraid he has no chance of winning. Maybe not as good as Jianghu. After all, he's just a brat. Elder Shui sneered. He didn't want Lin Xian to win. The news that Lin Xian was still alive already made him very unhappy. Elder Duanmu took a deep breath and his eyes shone brightly. No matter what, this time we can't let Lin Xian suffer any harm. On the battle stage, Tsang Lei's expression was cold. The aura on his body kept rising and blue lightning surrounded him, making a rumbling sound. Chapter 174. Can that brat really contend against Tsang Lei? He's only at the 3rd layer of the spiritual ocean tier. Don't know. Cloud State's martial artists' cultivation is generally low. This might be their strongest battle power. The surrounding martial artists looked at the stage and discussed animatedly. Zheng Jun's face was gloomy. To avoid a battle, he casually put the title of Cloud State's #1 on Lin Xian's head. He originally thought that Lin Xian went missing and wouldn't appear. Who knew it would be like this? Now he hated Lin Xian to lose immediately or else he would go crazy. A bunch of idiots. Wait until you see junior brother Lin's strength. Don't be scared to tears. Lu Yang was full of confidence in Lin Xian. Ah. Song Lei laughed loudly. The aura on his body rose to an extreme, then dispersed with a loud bang. Like raging waves beating the shore, it rolled up thousands of layers of clouds. I've already broken through to the 4th layer of the spiritual ocean tier. I can kill you with one hand. What? 4th layer of the spiritual ocean tier? Even Song Lei broke through. The Tong family's disciples had ugly expressions. Cloud State's martial artists were also extremely nervous. Even some elders in the distance had their hearts in their mouths. Originally they thought that Lin Xian had a chance of winning. But now the situation was hard to say. Although Lin Xian had sword intent, the further one reached the spiritual ocean tier, the greater the gap. The surrounding warriors also sighed. Originally, they wanted to watch a fierce battle, but now, it seemed that the result was already very obvious. Idiot, Lin Xian even killed a martial artist comparable to the 5th layer of the spiritual ocean tier, not to mention Song Lei. Lu Yang looked at everyone's expression and sneered in his heart. If this is what you're counting on, then I'm very disappointed. Lin Xian's voice was cold. He opened his 5 fingers slightly, and golden arcs of lightning danced on his fingertips. Just nice, I'll test it on you. Lin Xian just got the lightning sacred art from Wine Lord, so it was a good time to test it out. Arrogant die. Song Lei attacked like a thunder god. His 2 fists punched out and 2 giant lightning pythons shot out. What a terrifying lightning aura. Some cultivators' voices trembled. Good job, Brother Lei. Kill him. The disciples of the Tsang family shouted. Song Bao looked at the field and nodded. Lei has already mastered the Thunder Tyrant Fist. I think it won't be hard for him to enter the top 60 of the Hidden Dragon ranking. Chain lightning. Lin Xian's body remained motionless as he abruptly descended. Boom. 5 bolts of golden lightning suddenly struck down from the sky. It was extremely violent. Each of them was as thick as a human thigh. The 5 lightning bolts lined up in a row and blasted into the blue lightning python's body, directly penetrating it. This time the scene was too shocking. The 10-meter-long lightning python was directly cut apart and turned into dust. What? He's also a thunder attribute martial artist? At this moment all the surrounding martial artists were stunned. Lin Xian's move was too brilliant. It was so brilliant that it blinded their eyes. I'm afraid even Song Bao wouldn't be able to achieve such a brilliant lightning control technique. Why do I feel that his lightning is even more terrifying than Song Lei's? Many martial artists were surprised. Song Bao squinted his eyes and looked coldly at Lin Xian. There was a hint of greed in his eyes. Golden lightning. Such a high grade. If I can get this lightning, I'm afraid entering the top 30 of the Hidden Dragon ranking wouldn't be a problem. It wasn't just Song Bao. All the elders of the Tsang family were alarmed. Golden lightning? Isn't this the lightning in the legends? How could that kid have it? No, we must capture this person. Only our Tsang family deserves to have this kind of lightning. The elders of the Tsang family made a decision. Regardless of the result of the competition, they wouldn't let Lin Xian go. Damn it. It's this kind of lightning again. Song Lei's face was ferocious. Last time he was completely restrained by this golden lightning. I can only use that move. A hint of ruthlessness appeared in his eyes as he formed a strange seal with his palm. A dangerous aura was emitted from his body, making people's hearts tremble. Lin Xian frowned. His body turned into a ray of light and rushed over. He didn't want to waste time on a small character like Song Lei. Your Tsang family oppressed my fellow martial artists of Cloud State and even injured my sect's disciples. This kind of crime is unforgivable. Lin Xian's voice was as loud as a bell, shaking the 9 heavens. He arrived in front of Song Lei in a flash and slammed his palm down. Golden lightning ring. A golden lightning ring flew out and wrapped around Song Lei. Then it released a powerful lightning power. Crackle. It was as if a golden sea of lightning had appeared and covered the area, causing destruction everywhere. Everyone stared blankly and was stunned for a moment. When the lightning disappeared, Song Lei's body was charred black. His hair stood on end and the defensive armor on his body was all broken. A smell of barbecued meat came mixed with a hint of burnt smell. Just one hit and Song Lei was severely injured. This kind of method was too terrifying. One had to know that Lin Xian was only a martial artist in the 3rd layer of the spiritual ocean realm, while Song Lei was a martial artist in the 4th layer. Although it was only a difference of 1 layer, there was a world of difference between them. This kind of method to fight above one's level could only be done by some very powerful martial arts geniuses. Everyone didn't dare to underestimate Lin Xian anymore. This was definitely a young demon king. You dare to hurt me, I'm going to kill you. Song Lei went crazy. He didn't think that Lin Xian could defeat him in 1 move. He endured the pain and took out a walnut-sized bead from his storage ring. There was a bitter smile on his face. I'm going to make you die without a burial place. Not good. This is the Thunder Fire bead. It can kill all martial artists below the 7th layer of the spiritual ocean realm. When the surrounding martial artists saw it, they all retreated in fear. Lin Xian raised his eyebrows. Purple light flickered in his eyes as he released a soul attack. Song Lei's face was twisted with struggle. Finally, he handed the thunderfire bead to Lin Xian while trembling. What? Is Zhang Lei crazy? The group of people was so shocked that their jaws dropped. Bastard, what did you do to Brother Lei? The disciples of the Zhang family were furious. Zhang Bao also frowned, his eyes full of confusion. Lin Xian put away the thunderfire bead, then looked at Zhang Lei with a cold smile. His gaze was like a sword, waking Zhang Lei up instantly. What did you do to me? My big brother is here. He won't let you go. The Zhang family won't let you go either. Zhang Lei's eyes were filled with fear as he screamed crazily. You shouldn't have attacked the martial artists of Cloud State, and definitely shouldn't have attacked my fellow disciples. Lin Xian's voice was cold, colder than the ice and snow of Snow State. Since you did it, you have to pay the price. Golden lightning danced on his fingertips, forming a golden vortex. Traces of terrifying aura came from it as if it was going to destroy everything. No, big brother, save me. Zhang Lei used his remaining strength to escape while shouting loudly at the same time. Oh! Lin Xian's palm fell. Swoosh! A dazzling saber light lit up, cutting through the air and slashing toward Lin Xian. It was a powerful and terrifying saber. It had directly cut the battle stage into two halves. As the saber light was swung, a blue figure flew out and instantly landed on the stage. Big brother? Zhang Lei's voice was filled with surprise. Everyone looked over and saw Zhang Bao standing opposite Lin Xian with a cold expression. Don't you think you went too far? Too far? When you attacked the martial artists of Cloud State, did you think you went too far? When you attacked my fellow disciples, did you think you were cruel? Now you're saying this to me? You asked for it. I hit them. What can you do? Chapter 175. With Zhang Bao's support, Zhang Lei became arrogant again. The disciples of Cloud State were furious. The Zhang family was too much of a bully. Even some of the onlooking disciples were furious. Many of them began to support Lin Xian. I said no one can save you. Lin Xian's eyes were like sharp swords that pierced through the front. With just you? My brother can crush you with one hand. Zhang Lei shouted from behind. Whoosh! Lin Xian's body flashed and disappeared. Zhang Bao's pupils constricted and he was furious. He defeated Wen Su, who was ranked 47th and was in the limelight. He thought that he could intimidate everyone, but he did not expect Lin Xian to attack him in front of him. The surrounding martial artists were also stunned. This was too fierce. Did he really dare to attack Zhang Bao? Zhang Bao stomped his feet and lightning surged out from his body. It was as if it had turned into thousands of lightning spears that pierced in all directions. Chi-chi. Golden electric arcs jumped and Lin Xian's figure appeared from the side. He pulled out an arc of electric light from his hand and formed a ring of electric light that enveloped Zhang Bao. Break for me. Zhang Bao sneered and slashed with the long saber in his hand. The saber light cut through the void and slashed at the golden electric ring in the air. Chi-chi. The long saber was like a rainbow as it cut through the golden electric ring like tofu and quickly slashed at Lin Xian. Not good. Zhang Bao is too powerful. Murong Qianling and the rest were shocked. The disciples of the Tong family exclaimed. The surrounding martial artists were also nervous. Could Zhang Bao be so powerful that he could kill Lin Xian with one slash? Lu Yang and Wei Wei looked strange, but they were not too worried. They had seen Lin Xian's strength. Zhang Bao was not much different from the one-eyed wolf bandit. If Lin Xian could kill the one-eyed wolf bandit, he would definitely not be hit by Zhang Bao. In the distant pavilion, the elders all frowned. Among them, the elders of the Zhang family looked solemn and there was a trace of uneasiness in their hearts. Chi-chi. The saber radiance flashed like a bolt of lightning, piercing through Lin Xian. The hearts of Murong Qianling and the others trembled as they felt a burst of dizziness. They didn't believe that Lin Xian would die just like that. Chi-chi-chi. Lin Xian's split body didn't spurt out blood. Instead, it turned into a ball of lightning and flew in all directions. Phantom. Zhang Bao's pupils shrank. He seemed to have thought of something terrifying. Ah! Big brother, save me. A blood-curdling scream came from behind. Zhang Bao turned around abruptly, his entire being raging with rage. I've said it before. No one can save you. Lin Xian's voice was calm and steady. However, when these words entered the ears of the Zhang family disciples, it was like a clap of thunder from the 9 heavens, shocking them to the point their hearts trembled. Without any hesitation, Lin Xian's palm glowed with a golden lightning vortex. Then he blasted it at Zhang Lei's dantian. Zhang Lei rolled out like a dead dog. The blue saber radiance flashed and slashed towards Lin Xian. This saber was extremely fast, like a flash of lightning. However, Lin Xian's speed was even faster. He turned into a golden line and retreated rapidly. Rumble, where Lin Xian originally stood, a huge crack appeared and spread into the distance. My spiritual ocean is shattered. Song Lei rolled on the ground and kept screaming, "You actually shattered my spiritual ocean. I want you dead." What? Song Lei is crippled. Everyone was stunned. They didn't expect things to turn out like this. In this world where martial arts were respected, a crippled spiritual ocean meant that one could no longer cultivate. This was a fate crueler than death. The surrounding martial artists stared blankly at Lin Xian. An inexplicable fear arose in their hearts. This young man seemed gentle, but when he did things, he was decisive and did not hesitate at all. Even in the face of a powerhouse like Cang Bao, he couldn't change his mind. "You bullied the martial artists of Cloud State and my sect. You should be prepared to be crippled." Lin Xian's voice was like a sharp sword that pierced through the sky. The martial artists of Cloud State trembled and looked at Lin Xian excitedly. The disciples of the three sects were panting heavily. They felt their blood boiling. Originally they were unhappy with Lin Xian. However, now Lin Xian dared to challenge the entire Cang family for them in Cloud State. This kind of courage made them excited and made them yearn for it. What was the attitude of a powerhouse? "If I want you to live, you can't die. If I want you to die, no one can save you. Not even God." Wang Jianxing, Yuan Fei, Shengguan Luyun and the others clenched their fists tightly. Lin Xian's figure had been deeply imprinted in their hearts and became the direction they pursued. In the distant pavilion, the elders of Cloud State's three sects also stood up excitedly. "Awesome, this feeling is too awesome." For the past few days they had been suppressed by the Cang family. Many people mocked Cloud State. They were angry and unwilling, but they were powerless to fight back. As a major force in Green State, the Cang family was much stronger than them. As for the younger generation, Song Lei alone was enough to suppress the martial artists of Cloud State. Now the devil in their hearts was lying on the ground like a dog. And all of this was done by Lin Xian. He was a disciple of Cloud State. "Fuck, this is too awesome. Let's see who still dares to say that Cloud State has no one." An elder of the Black Heaven sect shouted. On the other side, the elders of the Cang family were in an uproar. Many of them stood up and prepared to capture Lin Xian. "Stop. If we attack at this time, what will the martial artists of the world think of us?" The Cang family's grand elder said coldly. "Are we going to let him go just like that?" The other elders roared angrily. "Let him go? How can we? I want him to suffer a fate worse than death." The Cang family's grand elder said cruelly. "Let's leave the surface matters to the younger generation. If we attack, those old guys from Cloud State will also attack. Although our Cang family isn't afraid of them, this isn't Green State. We don't have enough people, so we can't act rashly. When this is over, we will secretly capture that kid, extract his lightning, and make him a slave of the Cang family forever." The group of Cang family's elders calmed down and sat down. Their eyes flashed and their smiles were cruel. On the combat stage, Song Lei had been carried down. However, things weren't over yet. Cang Bao's face was ferocious as he glared at Lin Xian. He couldn't wait to kill him. "Kid, you will regret this. I will make you pay the price." No one can hurt a disciple of the Cang family. The lightning on Cang Bao's body rumbled and formed a black cloud above him. The wind and snow between heaven and earth became even stronger. The cold wind blew as cold as the blades of a blade. However, no one felt the cold. Their bodies were trembling slightly as they stared at the stage with excitement. Exciting, too exciting. Someone dared to attack the Cang family. The surrounding martial artists were as excited as if they were injected with chicken blood. "Fight! Fight! Fight!" Everyone raised their arms and shouted. Thousands of voices gathered together and formed a torrent that shook the heavens and earth. The entire ice snow city was alarmed. More martial artists rushed over. Lin Xian stared at Cang Bao. The battle intent in his heart continued to rise. "Doesn't your Cang family like to suppress the martial artists of Cloud State?" Chapter 176. Powerful, too powerful. Who would have thought that a martial artist at the third level of the spiritual ocean realm would dare to fight against Cang Bao? That was an elite that even when Su defeated. Cang Bao was enraged. His long saber slashed out continuously, forming a saber light in the air. Half of the sky was covered by the light. The saber light was brilliant, illuminating the front. Lin Xian swayed and kept flashing, dodging all the attacks. He leaned forward and waved his hands. Chain lightning. The clouds rolled and 5 golden lightning bolts struck down. The sea of lightning rolled around, emitting energy waves that made people's hearts palpitate. Boom. Song Bao's long saber turned into lightning, and a lightning bird gushed out from the materialized saber light. With a flap of its wings, it charged into the sky. Rumble, blue lightning bird versus golden lightning. Both were extremely violent energies. When the two collided, they exploded. The entire battle martial stage was shaking. Fortunately, this stage was built with special stones that were extremely hard. Otherwise, this would be enough to turn the stage into dust. That blue lightning bird was pierced through in an instant. 5 terrifying holes the size of buckets appeared. However, his 5 lightning bolts didn't strike down. The injured lightning bird turned into a ball of lightning fire, burning fiercely and exhausting the energy of the 5 golden lightning bolts. With one strike, the two were evenly matched. Cloud State's martial artists all looked at Lin Xian excitedly. Although they admired Lin Xian, they didn't think that Lin Xian could contend with Song Bao. But now it seemed that Lin Xian's strength was even more terrifying than they imagined. Lu Yang and Wei Wei watched with a smile. They knew that Lin Xian's strongest point wasn't lightning but sword arts. Lin Xian didn't use a sword, which meant that he had enough confidence. Damn it. Song Bao was furious. He couldn't get the upper hand. This situation was unexpected. Even in the competition with Wen Su, he had absolute confidence. But now he didn't have any confidence. Sevenfold Thunder Saber. Lightning jumped on Song Bao's body, bursting out with powerful energy. He used his strongest attack. His long saber was wrapped in endless lightning, looking azure. Here it comes, Brother Leopard's strongest attack. 7-layered Thunder Blade. Brother Leopard is mighty. The Tsang family's disciples all shouted. Everyone was nervous. They didn't know if Lin Xian would be defeated by the 7-fold Thunder Blade like Wen Su. In a distant pavilion, the hands of the Tsang family's elder were sweating. The 7-fold Thunder Blade should be able to subdue this brat, right? What are you thinking? This is my Tsang family's spirit tier martial art. It will definitely be able to defeat that little thief. The elder of the Tsang family felt a trace of worry. Your strongest attack? Lin Xian's lips curled up slightly. His hands began to form a seal, and a whirlpool of golden lightning appeared in his hands. The golden vortex spun at high speed like a whirlwind. Lightning flashed within it. Although the lightning vortex was only the size of a palm, no one dared to underestimate it. 7-layered Thunder Blade, 3 blades in one. 3 phantoms of thunder blades formed behind Song Bao. They were more than 10 meters tall and looked like small mountains. Under his control, the 3 thunder blade phantoms quickly merged into one and slashed forward. Airwaves rolled, snowflakes flew backward, and the sky was filled with snow. The huge thunder blade seemed to have cut open the entire space, forming a vacuum zone in front of it. Lightning storm. The golden vortex in Lin Xian's hand flew out and grew bigger with the wind. In the sky above the battle stage, a golden cloud seemed to have appeared and shrouded Song Bao. Rumble. Lightning flashed and the storm danced, drowning the front. Everyone's eyelids twitched as they constantly retreated, afraid of being contaminated by the lightning. Song Bao was hit by the lightning storm and let out a miserable cry. How is this possible? When the elders of the Tsang family saw this scene, they all stood up. The great elder even smashed a table into pieces. Lin Xian's body kept rising as he dodged the thunder blade in the air. Not good, Lin Xian is going to be hit. A martial artist exclaimed. Could it be that both of them are going to be seriously injured? Lin Xian, Murong Qianling and the rest were extremely anxious. Wei Wei and Lu Yang were also on tenterhooks as they watched nervously. The 7-fold Thunder Blade isn't that easy to dodge. In the pavilion, the great elder of the Tsang family said coldly. The blade light shrouded the bottom and was about to hit Lin Xian. Boom! The blade light exploded like a ball of sun, incomparably dazzling. Everyone closed their eyes, not daring to look directly. After a long time, when the light dissipated, everyone opened their eyes and impatiently looked over. They saw that the spiritual energy on Song Bao's body was shattered and there were holes in his body. His face was black and his hair was disheveled. He was in a sorry state. Although he was seriously injured, at least he survived. He looked in front of him and saw that it was scorched black and there was a bottomless hole. No matter how strong you are, you will still be cut down by me. Ha 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 ha. Song Bao looked up and laughed. Are you talking about me? A faint voice came from behind him. What? Song Bao's voice stopped abruptly as if he was choked by someone. His face was stiff and his smile was still on his face, but his eyes were filled with horror. Behind him, Lin Xian was wearing a white bear coat. It was white and flawless, like an elegant young master. Impossible. Song Bao turned back and screamed, "How can you be completely fine?" He did not believe it. He did not believe it at all. Although it was just 3 blades in one, the power was not something an ordinary person could block. He believed that under that blade, even an expert of the same level could not escape unscathed. However, Lin Xian was not injured at all. Song Bao was not the only one shocked. Everyone was stunned. In their opinion, even if Lin Xian could block this blade, he would at least be seriously injured like Song Bao. However, the facts in front of them told them that Lin Xian was completely fine. Is this guy still human? I feel like I'm dreaming. Many martial artists felt their heads were stuck and could not think properly. Impossible, how can he dodge the sevenfold thunder blade unscathed? The elders of the Tsang family were in a mess. That was their Tsang family's ultimate technique. How could someone dodge it unscathed? Damn it, this kid must have a secret. We must catch him. The elder of the Tsang family gritted his teeth and said. In fact, Lin Xian was able to dodge this blade thanks to Wensu. When Wensu and Song Bao were fighting, Lin Xian was shocked by the white feather flight. Although he was learning martial arts from Wine Lord at that time, he still left a trace of consciousness. Wensu's white feather flight was copied in his mind. Relying on the Great Dragon Sword Seal's unparalleled Saint technique, Lin Xian could use this ultimate technique to dodge the sevenfold thunder blade. Humph, don't be so smug. That was just an appetizer. Now I'll let you see the true power of the sevenfold thunder blade. Song Bao decided to use 5 blades in one. That was his strongest attack. He took a deep breath and circulated his spiritual energy to the extreme. The blade in his hand shone brightly and the shadow of the thunder blade appeared behind him. 5 blades in one? Lin Xian smirked. Since you want to lose, I'll let you lose completely. Chapter 177. With a sword in hand, Lin Xian's aura underwent a huge change. Sharp, like a divine sword unsheathed. What, is he a swordsman? The surrounding warriors were a little dazed. Lin Xian's lightning power had already shocked them, and now he took out a long sword. No way, if he's a swordsman, how abnormal would he be? Those warriors who did not know Lin Xian were all discussing, their eyes full of surprise. Because the average swordsman's ability was in the sword. With a long sword in hand they could release 120% of their attack, but without a long sword they might not even be able to release 60% of their attack. However, Lin Xian was obviously an exception. Without a sword he was very powerful. With a sword he was even stronger. At this moment all the warriors who knew Lin Xian had a change of expression. Many people were excited and could not wait to shout out loud. Because Lin Xian's strongest was not lightning but sword intent. A swordsman who comprehended sword intent, his combat power was absolutely heaven-defying. Lin Xian made the same gesture as Song Bao, and the spiritual power in his body constantly surged. What is he doing? Is he going to use some kind of ultimate skill? The surrounding warriors were guessing. Humph, don't try to use this trick to confuse me. It's useless. Song Bao sneered. Is he going to use the same martial skill? What a joke. The Tsang family elders looked disdainful. However, in the next moment their eyes almost popped out. 5 thick beams of sword chi appeared behind Lin Xian, as if they were pillars of heaven. Hiss! Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air as if they had seen a ghost. On the opposite side, Song Bao's expression changed drastically. His body was trembling and the lightning blade phantom behind him flickered. Impossible, how do you know my Tsang family's ultimate skill? Song Bao shouted with all his strength. The Tsang family disciples behind him were all terrified. The group of Tsang family elders were almost scared to death. This scene was too terrifying. Their opponents had actually used the exact same move, and this move was actually a secret of their family that had never been passed down to outsiders. It's not the sevenfold thunder blade, it just looks the same. The Tsang family's great elder's cultivation was extraordinary, and he was able to see through the truth. Although they looked the same, their auras were completely different. After the elders heard this, they were relieved. Then they sneered. Their Tsang family's sevenfold thunder blade was not something that could be casually called out. Every slash contained a peerlessly powerful force. Moreover, every slash was not simply superimposed. When the 7 sabers were combined into one, he could unleash an attack that exceeded his own strength. Song Bao quickly figured this out. He ignored Lin Xian and slowly condensed the shadow of the thunder blade behind him. Lin Xian also understood this principle. Although he could not simulate the secret of the thunder blade now, the moment Song Bao attacked, everything would be revealed. Activating his purple spirit eyes to the extreme, Lin Xian seemed to be able to see through Song Bao. Song Bao's body trembled as he felt an inexplicable chill. Without waiting any longer, he waved his long arms and the 5 saber shadows behind him merged into one, forming a dazzling blade light that slashed down. This moment was extremely fast, but under the effect of his purple spirit eyes, Lin Xian still managed to catch it. The great dragon sword seal surged as Lin Xian unleashed his body's potential to the extreme. The blade light flashed and instantly arrived above his head. At this moment Lin Xian attacked. The 5 sword auras behind him quickly merged into one, forming a sharp blade light. Moreover, it also contained a sharp sword intent. Slash. Lin Xian roared as the autumn scar sword slashed out quickly. The sword auras behind him surged and surged in all directions. Rumble. The 2 violent energies collided with each other, producing a metallic sound. I am the true 7-fold thunder blade. Song Bao's face was filled with madness as he poured all the spiritual energy in his body into it. However, what made him despair was that the blue blade light was slowly being repelled. The sharp sword aura was like a huge dragon as it flew towards him. In an instant, everything was annihilated. The whole world seemed to have lost its sound. No sound could be heard and only the light was shining. Shoo shoo shoo. In the pavilion far away, the elders of the Tsang family could no longer hold it in. They were about to go crazy. Without any hesitation, they quickly rushed towards the battle stage. They were not the only ones who moved at the same time. The elders of the 3 sects and the various forces of the cloud state also moved. Open. A loud roar was heard as a huge palm appeared in the sky. The palm grabbed at the air, causing the clouds to roll back and strong winds to blow in all directions. Lin Xian's sword aura was shattered. A strong pressure came down, as if 100,000 mountains were pressing down on him. This horrifying aura instantly covered the entire area, making it difficult for everyone to breathe. This is a harmonious spirit realm expert, someone said with a trembling voice. Lin Xian's expression was solemn as he looked at the strange phenomenon in the sky, lost in thought. Is this the power of a harmonious spirit realm expert? Too strong. Lin Xian was looking forward to it. Lin Xian was not too worried because he could sense a few familiar forces in his soul. These people would protect him. Swoosh. A huge palm of light, about 100 meters in size, mercilessly grabbed at Lin Xian. Bang. The clouds rolled and formed a huge mountain, repelling the palm of light. A few figures quickly landed beside Lin Xian, protecting him. Greetings, elders. Lin Xian said respectfully. The people who came were Elder Duanmu and the others. They surrounded Lin Xian tightly, fearing that an accident would happen. Little thief, look what you've done. On the opposite side, the elders of the Tsang family were trembling with anger. One of the elders carried a blood-soaked leopard with a ferocious expression. Lin Xian sneered, the young one can't beat the old one. The Tsang family is really capable. What did you say? Believe it or not, I'll kill you with one slap. The elder of the Tsang family was furious. Do you really think we're decorations? Elder Duanmu and the others snorted, their aura fluctuating. The Tsang family was in the wrong in the first place. They had mercilessly suppressed the disciples of the cloud state, but now, a harmonious spirit realm warrior dared to attack Lin Xian. We old men shouldn't interfere with the younger generation's battle. If you really want to fight, I can accompany you for a few moves. Elder Duanmu said slowly. Shameless Junior, you stole the secret art of the Tsang family and even injured our disciples. This is unforgivable. Hand over Lin Xian or the cloud state will be in trouble. The elder of the Tsang family was overbearing. If you didn't target the disciples of the cloud state, I'm afraid this wouldn't have happened. So, use your brain first before you do anything in the future. Lin Xian retorted. Tsang Leopard and I had a fair battle. It's inevitable that there would be casualties. This point, your family's Tsang Lei has already made it very clear. If you really want to attack me without caring about your status, I'll accept it. But at that time, it's none of my business how the world talks about the Tsang family. Lin Xian sneered in his heart. He had many ways to prevent the elder from attacking. The elders of the Tsang family were flushed red. They had calmed down from their initial rage. Now that there were so many pairs of eyes watching, if they acted rashly, they might attract the dissatisfaction of the other forces. Immediately, the elder of the Tsang family snorted, "Let's put the matter of injuring him aside for now. You stole the secret art of the Tsang family. This matter will not be forgotten. No matter what, you have to come back with us to the Tsang family and find out the truth." They sneered in their hearts. As long as Lin Xian was in their hands, they would be able to find out his secret. Chapter 178. Elder Duanmu and the rest frowned slightly. The martial technique that Lin Xian displayed was indeed similar to Tsang Bao's. If the Tsang family clung to it, this matter would probably be very troublesome. Who knew that Lin Xian laughed disdainfully. "Your Tsang family's martial art? What's your Tsang family's martial art called?" "Humph, asking when you already know the answer. Of course it's the sevenfold thunder saber. Don't think that we can't recognize you changing to sword shadows." The Tsang family's elders sneered. "Sevenfold thunder saber. That's to say that you can at most condense 7 saber shadows?" Lin Xian asked solemnly. "Nonsense, this sort of thing most people know." The Tsang family's head elder snorted coldly. After Lin Xian heard, the corners of his mouth curled into a smile. The Tsang family's elders were bewildered, faintly having a bad feeling. But they did not believe that Lin Xian could prove anything. Even the surrounding martial artists also had curious faces. They did not know why Lin Xian was so calm. "Everyone, what I displayed was clearly the 9 heaven sword shadows, not some sevenfold thunder saber." "Nonsense, what 9 heaven sword shadows? We've never heard of it." "Don't try to quibble, you little thief." The Tsang family's elders berated loudly. "Whether it's quibbling or not, you'll know with one look." Lin Xian's eyes focused, and the aura on his body gradually became fierce. Behind him, long sword phantoms began to appear, forming a row. Everyone focused and looked over, and very soon their eyes widened. 5 flashes, same as before. No, 7 flashes, he actually condensed 7 flashes. I'm afraid that even in the Tsang family, there aren't many people who can condense 7 sword shadows. The group of martial artists seemed to have gone mad, exclaiming repeatedly. The Tsang family's elders' faces darkened like they saw a ghost. "Impossible, how can he possibly display 7 flashes of sword energy? He's only at the 3rd firmament spiritual sea realm." The Tsang family's elders' faces were hideous. But what shocked them had yet to come. After the 7 sword shadows appeared, Lin Xian did not stop but revolved his spirit energy again. The 8th sword shadow was faintly discernible, appearing before everyone's eyes. "Oh my God, what did I see? The 8th sword shadow. Isn't the sevenfold thunder saber only 7 flashes? Why did the 8th one appear? Could it be that what he said was true? It's not the sevenfold thunder blade but the 9 heaven sword shadow?" Up until now, more than half of the families were already believed. When the 9th sword shadow appeared, everyone believed 9th Lin Xian, the Tsang family's elders. What Lin Xian did the 9 heaven sword shadow. The faces of the Tsang family's elders darkened as they stared at Lin Xian like hungry wolves. "Damn it, what kind of secret technique does he have?" The elders roared in their hearts. "Yes, of that they. If the family master families would to them? As long as they captured Lin Xian they could do it. If it's just a trick, just follow me back." The Tsang family's great elders sneered and suddenly attacked. Boom. Like a volcano erupting, the spirit energy wave blew away all the family's warriors. A huge lightning palm covered the sky, grabbing at Lin Xian. "How dare you!" Elder Duanmu was furious. He waved his sleeve and rushed forward. The battle between harmonious spirit experts was shocking. With just one strike, all the warriors within 1,000 meters fell to the ground. Just as the battle was about to break out, a cold snort came from the horizon. How dare you touch a friend of my Wanbao Tower?" A strong light flashed and collided between Elder Duanmu and the Tsang family's great elder. The force was very strong but very gentle. It separated the two of them in an instant. 3 figures flashed and appeared in front of everyone. One was red, one was white, and the other was a hunchback old man. Elder Duanmu and the rest of the Tsang family's elders looked at the 3 of them cautiously. "So it's Taoist friends from the Wanbao Tower. Greetings, Duanmu." On the other side, the Tsang family's elders also bowed. They didn't dare to go against the Wanbao Tower. The Tsang family was only a big family in the Qing province while the Wanbao Tower was a big power in the Xia country. The two of them weren't on the same level. I don't know why the three of you are here. Greetings, three seniors. Before the Tsang family's great elder could finish his words, Lin Xian took the initiative to shout. The red and white elders looked at Lin Xian with a smile. Little friend Lin isn't injured, right? What? Little friend? Everyone was stunned. The Tsang family's elders were dumbstruck. Lin Xian was actually related to the Wanbao Tower, and this relationship wasn't ordinary. Who was he? Why were so many people protecting him? The Tsang family's elders could not figure it out, but they knew that the matter of capturing Lin Xian this time was probably going to be a bust. Regarding the matter of Lin Xian's nine-heaven sword shadow, this old man can prove that it's indeed his own martial art, the Wanbao Tower's hunchbacked old man said coolly. Since Elder Gu spoke, then it's naturally true. The Tsang family's great elder was driven mad in his heart, but there was nothing he could do. He did not dare to oppose the Wanbao Tower head-on. But the matter of capturing Lin Xian he would not give up. Let's go. The Tsang family's great elder flicked his sleeves and brought the Tsang family's people away. Many elders gnashed their teeth in hatred as they looked at Lin Xian. The ruthlessness in them was very obvious. But Lin Xian was not afraid at all. With the Wanbao Tower now, the Tsang family did not dare to make a move at all. And after a few more days, even without the Wanbao Tower's protection, he would not fear the Tsang family either. Because he and the Sword Pool Manor's Lin family were bound to meet. And at that time, his other identity would also be exposed. At that time, the Tsang family's elders would probably not dare to do anything to him at all. Seeing the Tsang family's people leave, the Wanbao Tower's three elders looked at Lin Xian with smiles. Young friend Lin, don't forget our agreement. Three seniors, please rest assured. Lin Xian won't forget. Also, thank the three seniors for saving me. Lin Xian said respectfully. Ooh, too serious? The three elders said with a laugh. Following that, the three people spoke briefly and then left. Let's go back, Elder Duanmu said. Yes. A cloud of mist enveloped everyone and left this place. Only a group of martial artists remained on the spot, discussing continuously. Of course, the object of their discussion was all Lin Xian. Presumably within a few days Lin Xian's name would spread throughout the entire Ice Snow City. In the southern district of Ice Snow City, there was an ice snow courtyard. The houses inside were all cast with cold ice. In one of the halls many people stood. They were precisely the Profound Sky Sect's disciples. Elder Duanmu sat in the middle, and on both sides were the other elders of the sect. Elder Shui Yi sat in the middle, but his expression was a little unnatural. Jing Jun stood in the crowd with his head lowered. He did not dare to look at Lin Xian. Lin Xian recounted what happened after entering the blood-red door in a deep voice. Of course, he did not mention some important details and other important information. He did not mention a word about the Great Dragon Sword Seal and Shinjingqiu. So there's another secret place under the blood-red palace? Is that black-robed man really from the Nether Hall? I'm afraid it won't be too peaceful. Elder Duanmu and the rest had gloomy expressions. No matter which news it was, it made it difficult for them to calm down. Chapter 179. The snowstorm in Ice Snow City continued and more martial artists came and went. Of course, the most active ones were the younger generation. Did you know that a young genius appeared in Cloud State? Cloud State? Are you kidding? What kind of genius can appear in that place? Some of the new disciples did not believe it. Immediately, someone told them about the battle between Lin Xian and Song Bao. Many people were shocked. Of course, not everyone admired Lin Xian. The disciples of the Tsang family did not. They could not wait to eat Lin Xian. Some of the top experts on the hidden dragon role were also indifferent. To them, whether it was Song Bao or Lin Xian, they were not enough to arouse their interest. Their goal was to become a martial arts genius. Lin Xian stayed in the ice snow courtyard and did not come out. He rejected many people who came to visit him. In these 2 days he continued to consolidate his lightning technique and merged it with the power of wind and lightning. Now his strength had improved again. He had comprehended about 40% of the Wind Emperor's sword and 30% of the lightning technique. His soul power had also improved. However, his sword intent had reached a bottleneck and could not reach the small success stage. Time passed quickly. In the blink of an eye, it was time to head to the snow-seeking sect. Lin Xian walked out of his room and met up with Elder Duanmu and the rest. There were a total of 5 elders and 10 disciples heading to the snow-seeking sect. Lin Xian's arrival attracted everyone's attention. Among them, Elder Duanmu was surprised. After not seeing him for 5 days, Lin Xian's aura had become stronger again. This was not because his cultivation had increased, but because there was a hidden power in his body that could explode at any time. He is indeed a genius. This kind of person will laugh at the world sooner or later. Elder Duanmu exclaimed in his heart. Everyone is here. Let's go. Elder Duanmu waved his sleeve and a white jade ship appeared in the sky. Lin Xian sighed. The last time he rode the white jade ship was when he went to the bloody trial grounds. In the blink of an eye, a few months had passed and he was no longer the pulse condensation stage brat. A group of people boarded the ship and rushed towards the snow-seeking sect. Wuji. Wuji. The little snow-white monkey woke up on Lin Xian's shoulder. It rubbed its eyes and cried out. The eyes of Murong Qianling and the other female disciples lit up as they looked at the little white monkey with starry eyes. Whoosh! The snow-white monkey's body flashed and disappeared from Lin Xian's shoulder. Lin Xian was slightly stunned. He realized that the little white monkey's figure had disappeared. It's in the storage ring, Wine Lord transmitted. Lin Xian probed with his soul force. Sure enough, he discovered the figure of the snow-white monkey. However, his heart suddenly trembled. This isn't a spiritual pet storage ring. This little thing is very mysterious. You can't use common sense to judge it, Wine Lord said with a smile. Hearing this, the little white monkey raised its head and made a face at the void. He can sense our presence? Lin Xian was shocked. If it could sense him, then so be it. If it could sense Wine Lord too, then this monkey would be heaven-defying. The little white monkey revealed a disdainful expression. Then it grabbed the green eggshell and ate it. Lin Xian was speechless. He realized that this little thing really couldn't be judged with common sense. Ignoring the little white monkey, Lin Xian looked around. The snow-seeking sect was located on top of a snowy mountain. All the buildings were not made of ice. Ice hall, ice palace, ice bridge and even an ice river around the mountain. The white jade ship flew quickly and soon arrived at the periphery of the snow-seeking sect. Lin Xian felt that the surrounding spiritual energy had become denser. It was several times purer than in the mysterious heaven sect. As everyone knew, the denser the spiritual energy, the faster a martial artist's cultivation would be. For example, the disciples of the mysterious heaven sect cultivated faster than other martial artists in Yunzhou. However, compared to the snow-seeking sect, it was much worse. In Xia country, the few major spiritual veins were all occupied by the top forces. Among them, the 3 most powerful forces were the Sword Pool Mansion, the Earth-Fire sect and the Blue Moon sect. And now, the snow-seeking sect had also become one of the top forces. When they arrived at the entrance of the snow-seeking sect, Elder Duanmu controlled the white jade ship to descend slowly. There were many martial artists at the entrance. The arrival of Lin Xian and the rest attracted many people's attention. So it's Taoist friends from the mysterious heaven sect. Please come in. A long-faced elder smiled and invited Duanmu and the rest in. At the back, a martial artist whispered, "They're actually from the mysterious heaven sect. I wonder which one of them is Lin Xian?" It's useless even if you know. Those who can participate in the snow-seeking sect's grand meeting are all overlords. The younger generation here are the real geniuses. Song Bao, Lin Xian and the rest can't compare to them. A few people whispered among themselves. They were somewhat disdainful of Lin Xian. Elder Duanmu and the rest were let in. The elders had to go to the main hall to discuss some matters and were temporarily separated from Lin Xian and the rest. Lin Xian and the rest of the younger generation were led around by the snow-seeking sect's disciples. Everyone follow me. I'm sure you've never seen a large sect before. I'll show you around. The snow-seeking sect's disciple who received Lin Xian and the rest had an arrogant expression. It was no wonder. Now that the snow-seeking sect had been promoted to a 3-star sect, Lin Xian and the rest were only small martial artists from a 1-star sect. The gap between the two was too big. Lin Xian didn't care. Ever since he saw a genius like Xin Jingqiu, his horizons had been broadened. His martial Dao goal was higher and further. Moreover, he was born in the Sword Pool Mansion. The place where he lived was even stronger than the snow-seeking sect. Therefore he only smiled at such words. However, the faces of Murong Qianling and the rest were a little ugly. Many of them were livid and angry. Everyone is usually cultivating. Now that we finally have time to rest, let's take it as a sightseeing tour. Lin Xian said to the crowd with a smile. Senior brother, thank you for your trouble. The snow-seeking sect's disciple looked at Lin Xian in surprise and then led the way. It had to be said that this place was indeed unique. There were buildings made of ice and snow everywhere. Snow trees were planted on the side of the road. Lin Xian had snow beasts roaming around. It was like a snow wonderland. Ah, it's you? A cry of surprise was heard. Lin Xian turned around and saw a handsome young man with a sword standing on the side of the road. Senior brother Yin. The snow-seeking sect's disciple said respectfully. This young man was called Yin Shaoli. He had met Lin Xian once in Yunzhou. So it's brother Yin. Lin Xian cupped his fists and said, "All right, I'll take care of this. You can go do other things." Yin Shaoli said to the disciple. Then he smiled at Lin Xian and said, "Please." Yin Shaoli's attitude was quite polite. Everyone's expression eased a lot. Along the way they visited many places and left a lot of laughter. The Plum Blossom Pavilion is up ahead. I'll take you there. Yin Shaoli led the way and walked forward. It was a garden with many different types of plum blossoms. There were plum blossoms of all shapes and colors. It could be said that it was a scenic spot of the snow-seeking sect. There were many people in the garden, most of them were from the younger generation. Among them, there were more than 10 figures sitting in the pavilion, enjoying the plum blossoms and the snow. "Junior brother Yin, you're here too." One of the people in the pavilion smiled. "I brought my friends from the Black Heaven sect to enjoy the scenery. I didn't expect senior brother Huang to be here too." Hearing that it was a Black Heaven sect's disciple, the people in the pavilion were surprised and turned around. "Kid, it's you." Chapter 180. There was a young man in the pavilion who was staring at Lin Xian coldly. The young man had a powerful qi. There was a sword mark between his eyebrows that looked like a sharp sword. "It's you." Lin Xian was a little surprised. He had fought with the young man before, but he didn't expect to see him here. "Is Lin Feng here too?" Lin Xian looked around quickly, but he didn't see Lin Feng. "Junior Yin, this is..." Huang Qing noticed that the atmosphere was a little strange, so he quickly asked. Yin Shaoli also noticed the young man's cold eyes. He quickly said, "This is Lin Xian. Nice to meet you." Lin Xian cupped his fist and said, "Lin Xian? I've never heard of him." A girl in purple next to the young man sneered. "This is the Garden of Plum Appreciation. Not just anyone can enter." It was obvious that the girl in purple and the young man were in cahoots. Everyone else looked on with a smile on their faces, waiting to watch a good show. The disciples of the Shantian sect blushed with shame and anger. Lin Xian raised his eyebrows and sneered, "I don't see any Tom, Dick, or Harry, but I see 2 lackeys." The crowd was a little surprised. They didn't know what Lin Xian meant. "Aren't you 2 Lin Feng's lackeys?" Lin Xian looked at the young man and the girl in purple and asked. The people in the pavilion were stunned, and the surrounding cultivators were in an uproar. Did this guy know who the cultivators in the pavilion were? He was too arrogant. "Boy, you're courting death. I'm going to tear your mouth apart." The young man and the girl in purple were furious. They were noble and no one had ever dared to talk to them like that. But this young man from Yunzhou, a disciple of a 1-star sect, dared to talk to them like that. 2 attacks quickly flew towards Lin Xian. One was sword qi and the other was a palm of light. Ka, ka, ka. Lin Xian's expression changed slightly. Just as he was about to move, frost scattered in the air, and a wave of energy was transmitted. The speed of the sword qi and the palm of light slowed down, and a layer of frost appeared on them before they were finally frozen. A huge block of ice appeared in front of Lin Xian. It was 2 meters tall and as smooth as a mirror. No one had expected such a thing to happen. The young man with the sword mark and the girl in purple turned gloomy at once. Huang Cheng and Yin Shaoli looked into the distance with reverence and said respectfully, "Greetings, Senior Sister Shui." In the plum garden, there was a white figure that seemed to blend in with the surroundings. "Fighting is not allowed in the plum garden. I hope that everyone will restrain themselves." The woman's voice was cold and emotionless. The young man and the girl in purple seemed to have thought of something. Their expressions changed again and again. In the end, they both squeezed out a smile. "So it's the Ice Fairy. We've been rude. Fairy, don't worry. We won't fight in the plum garden." "The Ice Fairy." The disciples of the Black Heaven sect exclaimed. Lin Xian was also a little stunned. He was no longer an ignorant young man. He had heard of the Ice Fairy. She was a genius in the top 10 of the Hidden Dragon leaderboard. Her cultivation was unfathomable. The young man with the sword mark and the girl in purple glared at Lin Xian and then slowly sat down. Lin Xian shrugged and led the crowd to admire the plum blossoms. "The jade butterfly plum hasn't bloomed this year." In the plum garden, the beautiful figure sighed faintly. The girl in purple in the pavilion said sweetly, "Sister, don't worry. Young Master Feng is quite knowledgeable about plum blossoms. When young Master Feng is free tomorrow, sister will be able to see the jade butterfly plum blossoms. And you say you're not a lackey? Lin Xian muttered softly. Although his voice was soft, it was clearly heard by everyone. The surrounding martial artists were slightly stunned. They wanted to laugh but didn't dare to. The girl in purple had a dark face and her chest was heaving up and down. She was pissed off by Lin Xian. Whoosh! The snow-white monkey jumped out and stood on Lin Xian's shoulder. It held its belly and made funny faces at the girl in purple from time to time. Piff! Finally someone couldn't help but laugh. This young man was interesting. Even the monkey he raised was so good. Sister, I think it's necessary to let some small fries from the countryside go out so they don't ruin your mood of admiring the plum blossoms. The purple-clothed girl stared at Lin Xian, gritting her teeth in anger. In the plum garden, the beautiful figure looked over. Her clear eyes were like the source of ice. The group of disciples behind Lin Xian shivered as if they had fallen into an ice cave. Murong Qianling pulled Lin Xian's sleeve and whispered, "Junior brother Lin, why don't we go?" The disciples of the Black Heaven sect were afraid. The people here were too high level. They were all elites on the Hidden Dragon ranking. They were not used to being here. Lin Xian smiled and comforted them. Why wait for Lin Feng? If you want to admire the plum blossoms, I can make it happen for you immediately. Lin Xian's words shocked everyone again. This young man was too heaven-defying. He dared to say anything. Not only were the surrounding cultivators dizzy, but Yin Shaoli and Huang Qing also felt dizzy. Huang Qing glared at Yin Shaoli. The latter looked like he was about to cry. Well, brother Lin, why don't we go? Yin Shaoli whispered. I'll go somewhere else. Go. Why should we go? Don't tell me you don't want to admire the plum blossoms? Everyone was speechless. The sword-marked youth and the girl in purple wanted to bite Lin Xian. You bumpkin. How dare you say such things? Have you seen a mutated plum blossoms? The girl in purple sneered. You dare to deceive the snow fairy. I think the snow-seeking sect's senior brothers won't forgive you. Deceive? When did I deceive her? Lin Xian looked innocent. Isn't it just the jade butterfly plum? I promise I can make it bloom. The snow fairy frowned. She stared at Lin Xian as if she was thinking about something. Isn't it just the jade butterfly plum? The girl in purple sneered. Only a few places in the Great Xia have this kind of plum blossoms. Even young Master Feng isn't 100% sure. How dare you be so sure? That's because you're ignorant. Lin Xian said indifferently, Lin Feng isn't a god. What he can't do doesn't mean that others can't. At least I can do it. Lin Xian looked at the two people in the pavilion and said slowly, why don't we make a bet? Bet? What bet? The girl in purple asked subconsciously. Let's bet if I can make the jade butterfly plum bloom. Lin Xian said in a deep voice, if I can't do it, you can do whatever you want with me. But if I can do it, Lin Xian looked at her with a playful expression. What do you want? The girl in purple crossed her arms and asked nervously. If I can do it, you have to shout, young Master Xian, I was wrong. I won't do it again. What do you think? You. The girl in purple was so angry that her whole body was shaking. I'll bet with you. I'll skin you alive. What about you? Lin Xian looked at the sword-marked teenager. Seeing Lin Xian so calm, the sword-marked teenager was a bit scared. However, he didn't believe that Lin Xian could make the jade butterfly plum bloom. I'll bet with you. The sword-marked teenager sneered. As long as Lin Xian lost, the Autumn Scar sword would be his. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.